the stuff.
Coffee. Do I get locked in here?
I'll let you.
You by or do I need to stand up? He's making the rounds already.
Before the game even starts.
Attention, see if there's any food over here.
Smell these guys. Do you have a computer screen? No, I don't.
Well, I got some from Starbucks, but it honestly was like kind of cold and not real good. It wasn't supposed to be cold, so I was a little disappointed by that. Come here, I got you a huge fucking bone, so you're shut up. I did. This could be real.
I say that all the time.
Huge stuffed bone.
Yeah, hopefully not where you work.
Nope, I hope not.
I only have cats.
That's true. That's right. I remember you saying you were more of a cat person.
Yeah.
Well,
I have dreams about cats.
you have dreams about
The
cats?
musical?
Yeah, I was gonna say that weird fucking trailer.
The trailer will do it, yeah.
God, the weird live action one.
They just said like the budget was like $300 million for that movie.
Yeah,
Holy
that's a lot
fucking shit!
It's a lot of money for that.
For that.
For that. For something that really hits that uncanny valley.
Yep. Hard. Yeah. Plummets into the valley.
It's so creepy.
And I get back up.
Just swan dives.
Swan dive into the worst night of your life.
Okay, so we have to level up to level 3.
Yep.
Okay. Maybe everybody else already did that. I definitely did not.
I mean, I just wrote down my new hit points.
That's important.
Yeah, I was at 1 before, so.
It's close. Very
We
close.
we had a fight with a huge sea shambling mound.
It was a shambling mound, but it was from the depths. It was a sea-ambling mound.
It was fucking gigantic. And I just like stayed up on top of the lookout on the ship and just shot arrows at it until it died, basically. But everybody else like almost died.
I think I'm only at 1 because I rolled another 20 on my death save.
You do it a lot.
No,
Yeah.
I got you off.
You got that?
Yeah.
Oh, with,
Right,
with
yeah,
the
with the
healing.
touch.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
the paladin.
It was like, why do I only have 1? Because last time I did roll 20.
Yep.
We had some really weird experiences on the Tuesday game. Robert's character, you went down like over the course of a couple of games, I think 3 different times or 2 different times. And
That was that one game. That was that
Yeah.
one session.
one session.
I got 2 natural 20s on death saves and 2 different
Nice.
times I went down.
That's amazing.
Good.
It'll never happen again, unfortunately.
No.
To her, at least.
No, not to her. To Lance, it happens all the
luck
time.
is gone.
Lance has the best luck of rolling dice I've ever seen in my
That's why he
goddamn
always plays
life.
halflings.
Yeah.
Just
He
in
can-
case.
I've averaged out. I'm above averaged out.
Like, anytime Jason's like, oh, let's roll for stats, Steve and I both go,
Nope.
Yeah,
Lance is
Lance
like,
will be fine.
oh, okay, I'll get like 3 17s.
So
It'll be
funny
fine.
story about that. The Thursday game I play with the furries online.
Yeah.
My character was basically like going for the barbarian wrestler type again.
Oh, yeah.
And get down in there and it's like, oh crap, it's a ghost.
Oh,
so
no.
we gotta try to fight the ghost.
Oh, no.
And it's like, okay, you can land a hit, but you're gonna do half damage. Roll a 1. Alright, don't worry, next turn it comes around. Roll another 1. I'm end up with the lowest health, so it's like Ghost tries to possess you, Ghost succeeds.
Ooh.
Ghost attacks somebody in the party, rolls a 1.
Okay. All right, well, at least it was
carried over.
fair. And,
Yep.
you know, like,
You possessed the wrong person.
yeah. Okay, hold on. I need to...
So if I can force other people to do the rolling, that solves problems.
If there's a mechanic that allows you to let Lance roll for
Yes.
you,
Yep.
that'll be best, right?
I took that feat.
It's a homebrew feat.
It's just
No,
the luck-
it's in the book.
it's the lucky feat, but instead of like rolling an extra dice, you just let me roll for you because it's the lucky, right?
There you go.
It'd be better than what I can roll usually. Everything good?
Had an extra.
I-
Is there-
I
everybody
think I
good?
stole some.
Oh, you did steal my pencil. Sir, I just sharpened that.
Yeah, because it was like, man,
I
there's
get- Lance
a
gave it
much
back.
larger eraser.
Well, we have a
Look,
child, so our
we
pencils
run
keep
we run a
disappearing.
tight table here. Let's not
I also probably steal them.
let's not be ridiculous.
I think I've used this one. I don't want
So Kyle, do you wanna jump on in and make a character?
I've never actually sat and played, so I don't want to just jump in and.
Okay.
Well, that's
This is your first game?
that's what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do. Actually,
Yeah,
That's
no,
the point of
we'll-
jumping.
Well, then
We will absolutely
then we
help
can
you.
do that then. I mean,
That's the
I
best way to learn is to play.
yeah.
It is true.
I mean, I've listened to Critical Role and Nerd Poker and stuff, so I know it's never
Most games are more like Nerd Poker than Critical Role.
Yes.
Saw a funny post of the worst thing Critical Role did for expectations
Oh,
is
crazy.
people actually meeting up.
The idea that people
Having
get together
friends.
regularly. Yeah,
For me, it's the
Their
voice
schedules.
right.
acting. If I hear one more person tell me about their immersion, I'm gonna fucking kill them.
There are only so many people in the world who are capable of that stuff.
Right.
And they're not in your friend
Realize
group.
they're actors. They're,
Yeah, they're literally
professional
actors.
actors. Of
Yeah.
course, they're emphasizing that part of the game.
Oh yeah, it's fun to watch, but
Right.
those
Not-
expectations can be difficult for some people.
Every time I GM, I warn everybody. All of my characters sound just like me. It's really strange. But
So we're going to have a new character that speaks Farsi?
Farsi, yes. Farsi.
What?
The only,
I got it.
the
I
only,
fucked that up again.
the only foreign
I
language
think
in Dungeons and Dragons. It's the common draconic Farsi.
the show Jason and I both performed in this week
Mm-hmm.
was about speaking in Farsi.
Oh, it's about
So we both-
connecting with
connecting with,
this Iranian playwright Nassim Suleimanpour. I'd have
who
the
probably
titular name.
speaks Farsi.
He does. He does. Yeah.
So the whole show was him teaching us how to speak Farsi.
Oh, okay.
And us teaching him things in English that he might not have known before, and like
Waffle?
that was hers.
He
That was
asked for
mine.
my
That was-
my favorite.
And then you invite a child onto the stage.
well,
So at least you didn't do cunt like Jason did.
yeah,
did,
right.
it's like,
I don't care for cunts.
But I don't remember there being children there. My night. So.
I don't think there was.
No, I watched her walk in. I was like, well, he asked for my favorite cuss words, so I'm still going to give it to him.
The status of America is cunt.
Yeah,
Also
there was a thing where you could fill in the blanks. It's like, okay, the political situation, and somebody shouted America at mine, which, okay, that makes sense. You know, it's on people's minds, right?
Yep.
And then he filled in this favorite swear word at the end. It was just perfect. The political situation in America is now cunt.
And mine
I was
was
like,
the
that
political
fits. Yeah.
situation in the U.S. is now twat waffle. And I
That
was
also
like,
fits.
So really, it works. Yeah.
and you know, like he showed us last night, we had to pick a word from the audience, and someone said impeach. So we went through the notebook and showed how many times audiences had picked impeach, and I was like, well, it's
There were
popular
like
for
12
a reason.
in New York alone.
Yep.
Because it's funny, Jason got architecture, but then everybody in the audience pointed out impeachment every time it showed up as well. It's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it was just architecture. He was flipping through the book, and I was like, "Oh, there's impeachment 2, 3, 5, 7 times." There's collusion was in there.
Yeah,
you know,
collusion was pretty
stuff like
great.
that.
Where the hell
It's a
is
good gag.
Where the hell are the documents?
So even in plays, collusion leads to impeachment. Isn't that interesting?
True. Yeah. Weirdly enough. Sorry, Cal. I'm trying to find the sheet for you. I don't know what I did with it.
I'm trying
There we
to
go.
find the file so I can.
What file?
For the Google Drive.
Yeah.
But at the very least, we can start
If you
with the
log in
question:
recently, if you have Google
do
Drive.
you know what you want to
Yeah,
play?
but it
Be
would be
it
the
a
first
class or
event.
be it a
Yeah, that's what I
style?
thought. Strike the colors one.
I
Right?
don't care,
No.
honestly. I
No.
can adapt to whatever the group would need, I suppose.
It was
We've
Well,
got
we
a pretty
have-
solid balance. I
Yeah,
think
I
the
think
only
we're pretty
thing we've
balanced.
got.
probably...
Do we just
Color
have like
deck?
2 rangers? Is that
Two
it?
rangers.
Yeah, there it is.
That's it. Yeah. So I guess avoid ranger.
Yeah, maybe not
That's
ranger.
it.
There's a paladin, there's a rogue, there's a ranger, there's a ranger, and then there's a
Ranger,
rogue
ranger.
who's gonna become a wizard. at some
I'm more
point.
of a wizard. now.
Okay, your wizard is gonna
Yeah.
become a little bit of rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Dip a
It's
little bit.
2 levels wizard, 1 level rogue.
Right now, yes.
Okay.
So we don't have a cleric.
We do not
That
have
might not be a
cleric.
bad idea,
And
given
It's
that
a
there's
pretty-
a dead
that is-
person, no one can be revived.
That is
Fighter,
a pretty easy
barbarian.
into the game, I think, because clerics you can flavor them any way you want.
Yeah. As
Depending
much
on
as
the
I
god,
yeah, as much as I love druids, they
Warlock.
tend to be a little bit
Fucking druids.
They're-
rules funky.
Yeah.
When you start throwing in like you can turn into an animal, not just any animal.
All right,
a
get all
list
the
of
stats,
animals.
get all the blocks out.
Yeah.
So not druid. Would
Yeah.
be your suggestion.
Druid it is! Got it!
Yes.
You were
Circle of the
last
Moon.
time.
Get
Yeah,
that dire wolf.
it's one of those where it's like it works fine as long as you just
Oh, no, wait,
pick
that was
one
short.
and run with it.
And just be that guy for a while.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be a brown bear for the rest of the game.
Well, it's a fun
Try to get Jordan to be a Triceratops.
yeah.
Did that work
Okay,
out?
we're going to Cholt.
Mm-hmm.
Jason thinks I don't need a dinosaur, but I need a dinosaur.
No, we have to ride a
I
Triceratops.
need.
There's
I
a
need
race
a dinosaur.
for the Triceratops. One of us has to be the jockey.
Fantastic.
I am the smallest character.
Who has
I don't know.
animal
We
handling?
kind of talked.
There is something to be
Fair.
said
I am
about
part
needing
animal. Does that count?
weight
I have animal handling.
to stay on the
Yes.
thing. So
Well, you have
need to be
claws.
small and also fat.
Batman wins.
Do you kind of have claws that you can just grip into the hide?
I do.
You know,
They don't tend to like that very much.
Yeah,
That might
no.
make them jump a little bit. Might also make them kick you.
You know, it's fine.
There's
I
thick
just-
skin, right? That's
I
thick
just see an
skin.
opportunity to have a dinosaur, and I don't know why Jason tells me.
Yeah, you're a little sort of
I can't.
short-sighted
Well,
there.
This whole
There is-
death curse thing, that's great, but
A
dinosaur.
dinosaur.
There is
okay?
another race if you want. A little bit more, in the pit. But you have to have...
If you will. You have to be sort of arrested and tried and sentenced. And,
Oh no, I remember that from last time we tried to play Tomb of Annihilation. Fighting in the gladiator type.
Well, no, this is
Fighting
running away
arenas.
from velociraptors.
Oh right, I remember that.
If you survive, you're
Attack.
free.
The raptor.
I don't know if you
Yep.
can really tame velociraptors.
It's not easy.
I know, Chris Pratt did it.
Yeah, but that's
We-
movie magic.
don't we disavow those movies, aren't they?
And the
I,
next one- the next
I
one's
don't
gonna have the
disavow
original
Chris
crew
Pratt
back.
though.
No, Chris Pratt's fine. I just
Sure.
Just the rest of the movie.
the
just
post
like one
Jurassic 2, The Lost Worlds. you know?
Three was okay, but
Three has moments in it that are like, oh, that's
Oh look,
could have
we
been
got-
interesting.
Yeah, but they're also sandwiched into the rest of the movie, unfortunately.
yeah.
Isn't that the
It was
one
really
where-
just shit that they took from the first book and was like, I don't know, throw
Yeah,
in
I
the
don't
third
know.
movie.
As the
Tuck it in here.
as the T-Rex.
the gymnastic one? Didn't 3 have the gymnastic one?
No,
Where
that's
it's
two.
2? Okay.
Yeah,
That's still a moment where I'm like,
The funny thing about 3 is it was more like the second book than the movie that was based on the
That's
second
supposed
book.
to be
Yep.
the second book. Yeah.
because that was the first multimedia experience I had where I had read the book and then watched the movie and went, like almost everybody does, oh, I like the book better.
Now you're one of those people.
You
Do you
know?
think it'd be easier to give Kyle your iPad so he can look at the options for characters?
I don't want. We don't want to overwhelm.
Right.
With
Yeah.
choice paralysis?
So we'll just give them the
The
standard
handbook.
array.
Yeah, just give them this handbook. There you go.
The others take longer to read through.
Is
It
that
feels
the
like.
dog?
There's there's just too many options.
Yeah.
That's your computer, right?
Well,
Well, I
the,
don't-
the thumping
I-
was the
I don't
bone,
know sometimes.
the bone against Lance's foot or the chair or something.
The leg.
Francis
It's a
is
leg.
really trying hard to get the stuff inside the bone out. But
Well, good for him.
they're so quiet.
That's true. They're not barking.
I can't argue with this.
They're so whiny. They're so not whiny.
Be careful, those are easy to choke on.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So Kyle, maybe don't eat those.
Yeah.
Which ones are easy to choke on?
The white.
The white ones? Yeah, that makes sense.
Someone yelled that last night, and you were like, "Oh, I'm trying to chew on this tomato," and each time I was like, "Don't do that! Just chew the tomato."
Choose one. Don't do both. Choose one.
That's okay.
So have you put together a character before, Pat? Or is this
I
your-
have,
Yeah.
but our game has never gotten started because of all the shows that have been happening.
Ah, the true D&D experience.
Yeah.
Waiting.
My turtle druid is just waiting.
You're just playing so many characters.
By all means, play a turtle.
Well, he said he's like, our adventure is going to have a lot of like stuff in the sewers, and I was like, well, then I want to be a ninja
That makes
turtle.
sense.
I was like, I want to be a ninja turtle, and he goes, well, there's turtles, and I was like, all right, that's what I am.
Close
He was
enough.
like, all right,
Turtle monk, let's
It's
go.
really just. It's really like saying turtle, but with something in your mouth.
turtle.
You don't want anything in your mouth.
I love turtles.
Not even pizza.
Za. Fresh za. I would like to turn the monitor on, but
You don't want sewer pizza.
There we go.
You're not done already. No, go chew on your bone.
There's one design flaw in this table right now, which is that... well, I'm sure there are plenty of design flaws. But the one glaring one is that when we put it in, we neglected to remember that technically the button to turn it on is down here. And so it's sandwiched inside the wood right now. And so to turn on the display, I just have to, like, nudge it until it turns on.
It doesn't have a remote?
No. Well, it's not it's a monitor, it's not a
silly.
TV. So, yeah.
You could probably get a universal remote to work with.
But there's probably no like IR reader, right?
Hi, buddy. Okay.
Samsung,
I
that would-
don't know.
It's possible.
Later.
So, am I over here now? Yes, I am. How about that? Yes, I am there. Good.
Hi.
He knows where all the stuff's happening.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's an eraser. It's not food. Look, not food. Don't lick it. It's an eraser.
Got a test.
Hold, please.
If you have any questions, Kyle, one of the
Nope.
things we all do a lot is make new characters because we seem to never finish what we've started, so we always just start.
Oh yeah, let's be fair. Like this is the new attempt at really sticking to one thing because for like 6 or 8 months I was just bouncing back and forth between doing let's do this system tonight and let's do this system next week and stuff like that.
This is the fourth game, right? So this is like the longest of the year.
Thanks.
Well, no longer Asma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that this year?
Time is a flat thing.
Was it? Oh God, I don't know. I hope so.
I think that was like last fall.
Oh, now I'm sad. I did mention it to Jason, like, hey, that's the thing I want to do.
Just
I miss.
a fucking downer, dude. Just came here to have a good time. I'm feeling we're really attacked right now.
I remember Lyonel was like, "Yeah, I'm finally in the game. Oh, we're not doing it anymore."
Yeah, I timed it just so that
You can get one game and then I can't show up because that's why you joined.
I mean, you at least got the chance to let me die in an elevator fire.
It's
It
true.
didn't happen, but you got the chance.
you almost died in the
You
elevator.
almost died in an elevator.
Oh
fire.
man, that was close.
Well, if we do ever get back to the game, we won't be able to do it too regularly just because Trey's really fucking busy too.
Well, you know, maybe he'll lose his job. So.
Here's
One of
hoping.
them.
Here's hoping. Yeah, fingers crossed. Oops.
Yeah, puppy time.
Brings straight.
Very sweet. Oh. Yep. Sorry. I
Thank
do
you.
need the coffee. I do desire Francis.
I just want to swap laps.
I mean, if you want to swap laps, go on over to Lance's. That's cool.
Waiting for him to go sprinting across the table.
I've got hold of his chest down here to make sure that doesn't happen. Kyle might like to be skipped in the pass the dog around on our laps thing.
That's fine.
Alright, what spells do I have? What dice do I need?
I'm third level, so I have primeval awareness now.
Oh yeah, I took a divination wizard. So I get to do the roll 2 dice at the beginning and then swap it out for die rolls.
That's nice.
Yeah, especially with my low rolls, it's mostly going to be swapping out enemy attacks.
Yeah, because you can do that to anyone. Yeah.
As long as the character can
See
see.
them.
Yep.
It's great to pull that one out on a saving throw.
Yep.
Or
Or
no, you didn't.
Should I write down what enclave I was going to take?
That is pretty good.
Hunter Conclave.
Yeah.
Okay.
or an opponent rolls a 20 and you go, this time.
Oh, that
That
reminds
is
me. One of the new things in the UA is what you can do with Channel Divinity.
Mm-hmm.
Is you can, as a bonus action, use it to get the first level spell slot back. Are you okay with that?
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
Any
nice.
of those little tinker bits in the newest one is just fine by me.
That flexibility.
Yeah, that
I've never known anything released in the UA to be so game breaking that I have to. Whoa! Hey, stop!
yeah. Some of them are like, this might need to be adjusted, but it's
We
not
tweaked.
like
Yeah.
The
But that's
closest would probably be for me the what?
Okay, I didn't take
there's one that's like a fighting style that allows you to like reduce the damage by like a D10 plus your proficiency
Is like a reaction.
as a reaction,
Just you're the best duelist.
like every turn. But I don't think it's against you; it's against someone 5 feet of you.
Okay, that's
It's
more
like
reasonable.
the protector. It's supposed to be like the shield where you get
Protector
disadvantage, except for it's on hit
Yeah.
reaction for
No,
negating
Francis.
damage.
That just sounds better than the other, but
It does. It's pretty strong.
that's one where I almost feel like if you bumped the dice up as you leveled up, that would work better.
Yeah, I
'Cause
figure its scaling is probably okay. Just have it like a D8 instead of like a D10.
Yeah, because I look at it the same way you go, like, okay, the heavy armor mastery, where it's like, oh, you get to reduce damage by 3 if you're in heavy armor, if it's bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing, and non-magical. Details. But at the beginning of the game, it's like, that's super broken. Late in the game, it's like, it's 3 hit
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, on a damage attack that does like
Well,
30.
since
It's like
apparently,
whatever.
by wisdom of the survey, no one ever gets past like
Yeah.
7th level
true.
or something.
No, yeah.
I mean, there's truth to that.
Most games are going to be like 3 or 5, unless you start that high.
Yep. Very rarely do you have games that go anywhere near 20.
And it's very few even that start that high.
Yeah.
So as soon as you guys get 2 Port Nyanzara, we're gonna jump straight to level 20.
Nice.
Oh god, leveling up again.
I want to do an epic campaign.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where you start at 20 and go to 30.
2 more.
Or
kind of thing.
or a Benjamin Button campaign where you start at 20 and
20
go backwards.
How did I lose that ability?
wraiths.
I used
Just
to
so
know how
many
to do that.
wraiths. Losing levels.
The whole campaign is just all the characters being hit in the head repeatedly and just getting increased brain damage.
You just slowly lose your intelligence.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Couldn't I cast Wish yesterday? I don't
Super
remember.
concussion.
Buddy, they're,
Were you
they're
again?
not food. No, not food. See, not food.
Dice is food.
If you try hard enough.
Yeah, anything's food if you try hard enough.
Any pizza is a personal pan pizza if you believe in yourself.
Yep.
If you believe in your dreams.
Do you need a coaster?
Yes.
I am no longer that young.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
It's very much also like the cup in the vessel. You know, any cup is a single person cup.
Oh, right. Yeah. So yeah, a jug is technically a cup, right?
I had a friend who, in the military, was in Australia. And so it was all Americans in this Australian bar. And they said, can we get a pitcher of beers? And the waitress looked at him and said, we don't have pitchers. All right, so they got whatever. And then they see her walking by with a pitcher of beer. He goes, what's going on? I thought you didn't have pitchers. And she goes, that's not a pitcher, that's a mug.
Right. Yeah.
Welcome to
idiot.
Australia.
It's probably like the leader kind of mug.
Full liter.
Yeah, the
Kind you get at Oktoberfest? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
Do you want a
small
beer
size.
This is a small.
It's a literal boot of
They
beer.
have pints.
It's a boot of beer.
Pints.
Yes.
We have
But
liters.
it's a children's boot. It's very small.
If you go to any country where alcohol is pretty central to the culture of the place,
So Germany.
you're Germany, England, Australia.
Like the Chris
You're
Kittle
gonna do
they
some
actually
drinking.
have like little Christmas boots that they use with like Glühwein, which is like a spiced wine. It's really good. I have about them in Chicago and I think in Carmel.
Nice.
It's where we go field trip for German class. The teacher needed to get his Christmas presents.
Oh sure. Oh sure. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Work the system a little bit there. I can't not hear about
So you're contemplative, Kyle.
German trips.
No, I'm just waiting for whatever needs to be done. I'm gonna be a human cleric. Just
Human cleric. Okay. Very good.
You were human too, right, Tom? I can't remember what race you were.
I can't remember. I think so.
Piere Delecto is a human ranger.
Nice.
You're humans as well? Halfling, shifter,
I am a shifter, yeah.
kobold.
Why
Another
did I
human.
go human? Oh, because I wanted a feat.
Yes.
It's hard to argue with.
Oh, trash.
So I could do the dual fighting pretty effectively right from second level. Dual wielding.
One of these days I'm going to go in hard on like a human sorcerer and do the, what is it, the like elemental efficiency, affinity, and just go full fire. And it's like, it's resistant to fire. No, it's not.
Yeah. Sorry.
Get some extra damage.
Burn it with more fire.
Do you also get the resistance? Or
You ever watch the?
If you go like the dragon sorcerer, I think.
the dragon?
It was one of the strong bad emails where one of the gags
Probably
was a science experiment. I don't know if it was one that Strong Sad or Strong Bad had put together, but it was the effects of gasoline on fire. So.
Yeah, that's probably Strong Bad. I think Strong Sad did like the classic volcano or something. Oh god, the system. I'm gonna have to look that up again. They've been porting those over to YouTube.
Yes. Oh yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
We need to show this to Zoe.
Yes.
I don't know.
Proper internet history.
She has enough to be all like lol random about. I don't want to like fuel that fire.
She's 11. It's gonna.
She's gonna start spelling dudes DOOGZ, and it's gonna lose her mind.
If you're gonna spend time on the internet, you need to know about burninating the countryside.
Yes,
I agree, but
and how to draw.
She should do that. Yes. She should know that when she's like 30, so that she knows it's not something to just like trot out in regular parlance all the time.
Start with S, more different S.
Then a slightly different test.
Consummate fees.
Consummate.
My favorite part. Consummate fees.
Throws out the lighter.
Yeah. So do you know? So Kyle, you're going to be a male human cleric.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. Yeah, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
It sounded like this is what
it's a confirmation thing,
right? Sure.
Okay. You're a male human cleric. Do you know what god your cleric is representing by chance?
Or order.
Or order. Sure.
It's like domains.
Yeah. Well, your domains, and then of course we can tell you what the deity sort of associated with that domain is.
I was liking the trickery domain.
Oh,
Trickery
That is a good one.
So, trickery.
It's
One right at the tip of my tongue.
Loki.
Loki, yeah, that would be a tradition.
Loki's technically one. It's just not in this pantheon. Cyric.
It sounds like
the Prince of Lies.
You're the Prince of
Ooh,
Lies.
I like that.
He's in the chaotic evil side of
Not the
things.
King of Lies, he's the Prince. So
Well,
somebody's slightly better.
Yeah. Probably somebody currently living in the
Probably
Nine
like
Hells.
fucking Satan. Like,
yeah.
Someone like Satan.
Could it
Oh,
be
okay, yeah, you could be
Satan?
You could be fashion cleric and be Soon, right? Soon, the Princess of Passion.
That would be hilarious. A bard should have that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the cleric approach to that.
That is one of my characters where she started out.
That's one of those where you want to do like a mix between bard and cleric, and the bard part is constantly playing sexual healing.
could we just listen to something else? Please!
Anything else?
The only song I learned.
4 years of bard college, and all I got was this one song.
I only know the first chorus.
Oh, and this T-shirt that says what I just said.
Sounds like they only went to class once in the
Yep.
part of your life after that.
Once they
Which
learned
is
that,
probably
they
like-
learned everything they needed. Just because it made someone sleep with you once doesn't mean it's going to happen again.
That was 10 years ago, man.
I have a feeling we're going to be saying that
They
to
were
Emanuel
drunk.
throughout this campaign. Just because they slept with you once.
I think we're mostly going to be saying that to Emanuel.
That's what,
As
that's
he
what I said.
tries to sleep with everyone.
I am making the world a better place.
Okay.
One mysterious crotch ailment at a time.
Right. Medicine wasn't.
Well, I mean,
wasn't,
it's a lay on
raised to that.
hands.
Well, you're dealing with a paladin, so you get to work your way around that, since lay on hands can cure diseases.
I'm just immune to diseases now.
Oh yeah, you hit 3rd level, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The others, your victims, if you will. Not so much.
Well, that's where the lay on hands comes in. You don't want to be a typhoid Mary.
It's a
just
part
does
of
it
like
in
the
a couple different ways.
it's the actual healing.
Yeah.
It's just therapy.
It takes, what, 5 points?
Do you have an idea of what your alignment is going to be, Kyle?
No idea. Where is that?
Anything but evil.
I mean, anything
It's
but
evil that we're probably going to end
we're
up killing.
you know, like, depending on the deity you pick, right? There's a sort of... You have to be within...
Usually a
have
step.
to is a strong word, but you have to be within a step of their alignment, generally speaking. So, like, if a deity is chaotic good, you can be chaotic neutral or neutral good or something like that, and that's still in line with their like principles and stuff like that.
Chaotic neutral sounds.
Chaotic neutral.
Okay. Sometimes called chaotic asshole.
I'm just making myself at this point.
That happens to a lot of first time players.
Chaotic neutral, in other words, I can do whatever I want.
Damn
Nobody
the,
can
damn
stop
the
me.
consequences.
I mean, if we're going with evil is just more selfish, that's kind of basically chaotic people.
That has been one of those arguments that, like, the reasons why I hate D&D alignment, and that comes up
It doesn't do
constantly.
anything in 5e.
Yeah, which is nice. They removed the mechanical element.
It's really just the touchstone.
Yeah, but yeah, that became the problem because you look at Kobold in the description for it. The only evil they talk about is like they're selfish, therefore evil, and you're like, okay, so that's your 1-to-1 apparently.
Yep.
Such,
But
that's
yeah,
no nuance whatsoever.
yep.
It used to have consequences, like especially for paladins who had to
yeah.
be lawful good.
That
They couldn't do
sucks.
anything to change their alignment because then they would not be a paladin anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you manage to push all the way to evil and get fallen
Then
paladin.
yeah, get a fallen paladin.
But you have to literally
There's
jump
so
the
many
entire
steps.
gap. Yeah. You basically had, in the older editions, you, as a paladin, had to fall hard. Otherwise...
You alright, buddy?
It's all right. He gets underfoot a lot. That's fine.
I'm still eating. Do you want to be comforted, or you just wanted my food?
This was
I mean,
his
it's
plan
like
all
sesame
along.
chicken, right?
Get close to the Chinese food.
It's pretty good.
It's a honey sesame chicken is really good.
Oh man.
And the honey walnut shrimp are my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad the sesame chicken is not like a permanent thing.
I know, right? Okay.
Oh, it's on rotation?
Yeah. At Panda. Yeah.
Got to swing by.
You just put one in Kokomo with a drive-thru.
Oh, that's dangerous. My only gripe with Panda Express is they changed their mixed vegetables. They're just really nasty now because it's like super greens. So it's like limp kale and cabbage and broccoli.
That's not alright.
And like no one wants to eat
That was my
that.
nickname in college.
Super green.
That's okay.
Oh,
At least
yeah.
the mixed vegetables have like mushrooms and carrots and zucchini.
That's
It's
nice.
delicious. I used to get it all the time.
They traveled much better in like refrigerators and freezers.
Yeah.
Unlike kale, which doesn't.
Nope. As soon as it's cooked.
So I would suggest, Kyle, as a cleric, if you're going in the chaotic neutral idea, then I would say that you are cleric of Timora.
Yeah.
Timora is Lady Luck, right? The goddess of good fortune. So
just a gambler.
yeah, gamblers,
Definitely not me.
gamblers, game players, they all.
The exact opposite of that, but that's fine.
Risk adverse. Just do the
makes your
two-face
character
thing
look
and
really
constantly flip coins when you don't know what to do.
I'm totally gonna do that.
And then have like half of
roll
your
for all my actions.
half of your body like horribly burns that explodes.
That's the good side, though.
Yeah. The other side's just it's not burned or anything. It's just not great.
It's resting bitch face.
Yeah.
It's just-
I've been playing Disco Elysium, and I just have that
Yeah,
face
how is
as
it-
my
is it-
default.
I understand that's really good.
Oh my god, the writing!
Yeah.
Holy, like,
The writing's supposed to be great.
have you played or seen the Outer Worlds played? Like, have you messed around?
I've
with
played the Outer Worlds.
it? How do you feel about that writing?
Outer Worlds or Outer Wilds?
Outer Worlds. Outer Wilds is still good.
Yeah, what a pain in the ass that those two games came out at the same time.
I feel
very
so
different
bad for
games,
both
too.
of them. Yeah, because they're very different games, and both of them, I'm like, I love these both for different reasons.
I think the writing in Outer Worlds is enjoyable in a kind of Fallout New Vegas kind of sense, but it's
In its niche.
it's occasionally like clever. It's mostly enjoyable, but like there's nothing really, for me anyway. There's nothing really
stand out
about it. It's a great job
Yep.
by a group of, I'm sure, talented writers. It's just that
Great execution, but
I've
not.
played a lot of RPGs, and the writing here is good, but not.
Nothing like
Disco Elysium is for you.
Yeah.
It's my understanding is it was, I think, written by one person, a novelist,
Well, that makes sense.
who had a very
a lot of
good
reading.
take for games, because there's a lot of branching paths to it.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredibly smart in terms of like how it deals with some of the like science behind some of the stuff, and very clever in how open it can be. I've looked at it and I've had people talking about it, and I've come to the same conclusion that there is almost no way you're going to see everything in this game on any number of playthroughs, purely based on just like, well, I don't want to do that.
Cool.
There's a legitimate part where it's like you're in a fantasy version of reality, effectively, and racism still exists.
Sure.
They have these wonderful little things in game called your thought deck, where you get an idea, and it takes in-game time for it to cement and have effects.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is literally advanced race theory, in which you become a racist.
Very nice.
And then it slowly changes your dialogue. over
It
time.
changes some of your it
Dialogue
gives,
options.
It gives you more options. It never takes options away from you. Now you can then apply this to pretty much any of the political standings in the game, which range from like ultra liberal, fascist, communist, or centrist, which they call moralist. Those are your kind of four main ones, and it takes the piss out of all of them.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, it goes, oh, congratulations, comrade. You were part of the 0.000% of successful communists.
Right. Yeah.
But this time it'll work.
But this time it works, yeah.
It does a really good job of letting you kind of flesh the character out as you're going.
Cool.
And the skills, I think, are the coolest part, because they are parts of your psyche. And they will fight.
Right.
So your drama might be like,
Yeah.
oh, they're lying. But your logic is like, no, it all lines up for what we understand. And you go, who do I believe? I didn't get an answer here.
Right.
I have to go with a gut feeling.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, it's been on my radar for a little while now. I'm gonna
It's-
dip into
Just
it.
be ready to
It's
read.
good. Yeah. It's
Be ready to read.
Well, yeah, I mean...
it's a good bit of reading, but it's great reading.
It-
Yeah.
it's just like, because I know a lot of people.
it's not a
it's
game
like,
I can
it's-
fall asleep during.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. You will not see a good LP of it because it is LP poison. It is that much.
It's just reading, yeah.
It's, and a lot of the fun comes from what do you want to say and how that affects things.
It's when they have to be cut and prepared for. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of reading. That's what it is. That is the game.
Yep. It's the closest thing I think video games have come to an actual choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
It still has that kind of Rayleigh track that you're on, so to speak, in terms of the story. But how you approach it gives you so much variety.
It's probably better than Choose Your Own Adventure because you don't make like one choice
Yeah.
and then flip to page 49 and think, you're dead!
Well,
Instantly
Back
dead!
up
Congratulations!
Yeah.
although
Time to
you
go back
can
to your quick
die,
save.
you can die within like the first
Yes.
5 minutes. I was watching somebody play through it for the first time, and they're like, "Well, I like doing like really smart characters." So they boost all the smart stats, which stat balance in that is like you can get 2 good ones and then 2 terrible ones, or be less than mediocre at everything.
Right.
They're like all intelligence, all psychological. They see their necktie on a ceiling fan. They try to reach up for it. They fail the check and have a heart attack and die immediately. That's the type of game you're dealing with.
Good. Good. I mean,
Sounds like a great game to play next week when Zoe's gone with her bio dad for Thanksgiving weekend.
well, we have to buy it. It requires human money.
Oh shit! How much? Okay.
Money just ruins so many things.
It really does. Yeah.
Can I just have what I want?
I get paid next Friday. That's the
Do you have
thing.
any questions, or where are you in your process?
I don't know. What do you need next from me?
I just
You need personality traits or things?
No,
like
I just
that?
needed to
No.
know. I just what I like to do is I wanted to. What I do is I grab everybody's rough, like I get a name from them, I get their like gender presentation, their race, their class, and then I grab their passive perception. And other than that, like I just need to have I want to have a record of it so I can look at it later if I forget.
Have you done skill points yet?
Yeah, I jump into attributes next then.
What do I need to do?
There should be a standard array in there.
15, 14.
Before the classes, if I remember.
Yeah.
And if you have it off the top of your head,
15,
go for it.
14, 13, 12.
10?
10, 8.
Well, do you want them to do
10,
0.5?
Probably easier just to do standard.
Okay.
It'll get you a good balance.
Unless you want to do
15,
like
14,
a 9, 7.
I can also generate a third level human cleric for you if that's if you.
That would be fine. I will
They
adapt
should
to
have
whatever.
some on Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Default.
I can look at something.
Oh, like D&D.
And then if you hate it, they might die and you get to do it again anyway.
Problem with D&D Beyond is there's nothing to try to make the character good. It's just a bunch of random crap.
There's no thought behind it.
No.
It's just. Yep.
They do it on Dragon Talk all the time. You can end up with a wizard that has 9 intelligence and 18 charisma.
That makes no sense.
Right. I still enjoy a good punch wizard, though.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
That wizard can't do it.
All
You want
of
to
your
be
spells have to be.
you want to be a male or a female, or a neither.
Let's roll for
Let
it.
the dice decide. That's a
There you
good attitude.
Now you're getting into character.
Even male on female. It's 8, so I'm male.
Okay. Class cleric of trickery, level 3. What do you want your background to be by chance? There are a couple of different backgrounds available. There are some that fit clerics, and there are some that don't.
I was liking the charlatan.
Charlotte?
Nice.
Okay.
Since I'm already a deceptive individual.
Charlatan it is, and your alignment was chaotic neutral, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Display format. Grayscale. There we go.
End up as one of those like Christian revival pastors.
Tartuffe. Is he going to be playing Tartuffe?
No.
Reformation now.
Yeah. I gotta add my.
You discovered the secret for the dog.
It only cost me $12.
Oh, jeez. That's a little pricey.
But the good thing about those bones is after they get all the filling out, you can just shove peanut butter in there instead.
Reusable.
Just shove peanut butter.
We're gonna have to start bringing tribute now.
Yeah,
Just a jar of peanut butter. It's fine.
Yep. I'm good with it.
I mean, Francis isn't even touching. Well, I guess he is still looking at it for some. Leon's the one you need to keep quiet.
Yeah.
got his attention by saying his name.
Uh-oh.
Who knows? Oh. Well, I have a randomly generated cleric for you if you would like to use that, or I mean, it's up to you.
Let's go with it.
I mean, we're, you know, if you want to create something that's fine.
It's fine.
You know.
Let's roll with what we got there.
Okay.
At least we can get you into it, and then maybe you can create something for
Yeah.
next time.
D&D Beyond is great for that. Free accounts let you build, 6 characters? And you get all the
You get
like
some
starter
limited
handbook
stuff,
I
but yeah.
think. Yeah.
You usually only get like 1 or 2 class options.
Yeah. Not terrible,
Like per
but
class.
So I guess this means I can take different spells than. Maybe I don't need. Well, no, I guess I'm still going to take Cure Wounds. Who am I kidding?
You can
Always
do
used.
whatever you want.
I'm going to keep Cure Wounds.
For the
Detect
most
magic,
part, you
detect
still
poison,
have the
disease.
same
Oh,
stuff
right.
because you only.
So here's your
half
character,
caster.
Kyle. I don't know how you want to pronounce that first name.
Rye?
Rye sounds good. You want
I
to
like
say
Rye.
say
Or we can
Rye?
just call you Wooks.
Wooks.
I like Wooks.
Yeah.
Mr. Wooks?
We'll just call you Wooks.
Wooks.
Hey, Wooks.
Rye Wooks. Charlatan, human cleric, level 3.
Like RYE or
So clearly,
R-U-Y.
clearly his first lie is his name.
Yes.
And Wooks is WOOKS.
W-O-O-K-S.
Fantastic.
Wooks.
The Wookiee.
The Wookiee.
Yeah, that would be a
You
good name
don't
for a
need
book.
to be in the lab right now.
But wants to be.
I love you, but no.
Roy Wooks Jr.
Wooks is
I
a
can see that.
Wooks.
He's
That's so
a-
much fun to say.
he's a dexterous fellow. He's got a good constitution. His intelligence is a 9,
Does
okay.
sound more like
but his wisdom is a 16.
I say I'm trickery, but not very smart about it.
You're street smart. You're not book smart.
But I'm wise about it.
Mm-hmm.
I learn from my mistakes.
Yep.
someone gets you in like a logic
But you had a most.
fallacy, and you're like, doesn't matter.
I'm basically Devin Nunes, I guess.
Oh, good.
Don't ever say that. Not even for.
I'm not
pretend
smart,
character.
but I'm smart about what I'm doing.
Even
I guess,
fictional
right? Oh
characters can't be
no,
that.
I don't think he's even smart about what he's doing.
He's not. That was,
I don't
it was
think
totally a joke.
I don't even think he can read like his script well enough. I mean, he didn't
He's got
even
a prompter
choose like
somewhere.
a pretty good lawyer to like assist him either. Oh. Thursday was pretty great.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Hill was.
Oh yeah.
Kyle's had like this whole week off to just sit and watch it.
Yeah, I've watched all of it.
It was fun.
I wish I had my headphones when I was getting my tire changed at Walmart for like 4 hours.
Shift's closing statement on Thursday was fantastic.
It was a bitch slap of words.
There was something that,
Aren't we better than that?
during the Sondland testimony. I don't remember what senator it was, but he was saying Sondland was like, "Excuse me, but I've been very forthcoming."
You
in this
have
thing."
not,
And-
sir.
and yet-
We've brought you in 3 times.
Yeah, it's like we've had to drag this out of you. Basically, this is the third time we've
It
gotten
was like
any.
Moreland or something.
Yeah.
He's the same person who dragged out of like Hill that she thought there was no way that he was that it wasn't in his mind that he was
let you
not,
up. It's hard,
not
though.
obscene, but
I'm out of space, buddy.
yeah, not obscure, but that
There goes all
she
the
just
dice.
didn't know.
Oh, that he was ignorant of
Just
the.
gonna
Yeah,
immediately
like
jump
that he
down,
was ignorant
eat
of
all the
it.
dice.
I
No,
can't remember
those
my
are
My
not
job
good
here
dice.
is done.
Not observant, but what's that word?
Oblivious.
Oblivious. There we go. Thank you.
Oblivious. Well, if there's one thing we can agree on, it's that he's definitely oblivious. Just not of the things that we might want.
Oh, one more.
Nunez might be the next one called because he just
Yeah, because of the thing.
he
Yeah.
got himself in a little trouble.
He should hire Rudy Giuliani to defend him.
Perfect.
He's really good at talking.
Something.
Speaking of twat waffle,
Fuck, man.
Oh,
It's too good for the word.
next year cannot come soon.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll talk about what happened previously, so we can all get on the same page. Luckily, you're all on a boat. Ah, yes, thank you very much.
I'm on a boat.
So, first of all, thank you for reminding me, Stephen.
Yep.
Everybody,
Oh, Virgin, yes.
I need you to roll a single d20 and tell me what the result is.
14.
12.
1.
Hold on. 14, 12. Who got a 1?
I did.
1,
6.
6,
Oh.
16.
Oh, you're nice about it.
16,
4.
4,
Okay, we're even. We might not die.
and I got a 5.
We'll still
Which
manage.
is a fail for me, so there's an extra. Yeah, there we go.
So we use fortune. You can
There's
use
balance in the
those.
force,
Hey, that's good.
which is also a decently good game.
So there's a system in D&D where people the DM awards inspiration, right? And then they can use that to gain advantage on a roll, right?
Wow.
We use
Very
something
decisive.
that is adapted from that Steven started doing, adapting from one of the Star Wars Fantasy Flight games, which is a fortune pool, right? And so the idea is that they're essentially like inspiration, but they're table wide. And the red ones I can use, and the green ones you guys can use. And every time one gets used, it flips to the opposite color, right? So if I use one of my red ones, you get a green one. Of course, you use a green one, I get a new red one. And so the balance keeps shifting and pulling. And basically, you can cash this in at any point and give yourself advantage on something, or if you want to re-roll, right? Depending on when you want to invoke that, right? You can't do that to damage rolls, obviously.
Right.
But any other thing, like a saving throw or an attack roll or anything, you can do that sort of thing. ability check. Yeah. So those are just going to sit. Those are sitting on the table, and whenever the spirit moves any of you, or you all agree that something needs to be done, that.
We're all about to die, and you really need to hit that guy.
And of course, in response, I can take one of mine and give a monster advantage on an attack or on a saving throw. Or sometimes I can cash them all in say the Star Wars game and have bad things happen to you.
That happens so much in Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
It's generally one per roll.
Yep.
You can't just keep using it.
per turn.
Yeah, each person
tends to
can
be the
only
standard
capture like
I use.
Yeah.
one per.
And you can't use them against other players.
Right. I mean that seems like a
Resource.
given, but there you
Yep.
go. Okay. So when last we were together, okay. So let's give a quick rundown.
Introduce our characters.
Yes, in just a moment. So the lot of you, with the exception of Wooks here, the lot of you were at the funeral of your beloved friend Boz Ridhag. You may remember Boz Ridhag. Boz Ridhag, a professor of linguistics at the Citadel of Elevated Aims, right? He was one of many in Faerun that had been previously been killed due to some kind of misadventure, right? And was brought back to life by a cleric, a temple, right? And because of the death curse currently sweeping Faerun, he was one of the poor, unfortunate souls who, since he had previously died, had decayed again and died permanently this time. Well, permanently within the scope of the death curse. Because, as you understand it, scholars and clerics and all manner of thinkers are stymied trying to figure out a solution to the fact that people are dying and they can't come back to life. Also, people who had been risen from the dead are now basically reverting back to death. Right. So Boz Ridhag, your friend, was unfortunately one of those consequences. And at his funeral, you were approached by two figures. You were approached by Romalia Haventree and Syndra Sylvain. They too were representing the Harpers, a group known throughout Faerun of they're a semi-secretive organization, in that you're probably aware of who they are, but not who's in the organization and why, and what their aims are. Right? Who dedicated to spreading generally good and order through the world and balancing civilization and nature and trying to keep everything not death cursey.
Not
generally
Jeff
speaking.
Good way to put it.
So these two, Romalia and Syndra, explained that they were trying to figure out the source of the death curse. And the way that they were going to do that, since their own intelligence agents were desperate and everyone else was desperate across Faerun to figure this out, they were going to storm the tower of a lich living 50 miles south of Baldur's Gate along the Sword Coast. Zaldora Cordris, the Duchess of Rot. They were going to storm that tower and force the Lich to provide intelligence about the Death Curse. Because if, as they understood it, the Death Curse was kind of akin to a Lich's magic, it would make sense that a Lich might be able to provide some new information. So they essentially proposed to you, all right, we're going to go in and we're going to make a big distraction. We're going to assault the tower. And while we do so, you will get on a boat, go inside, go in a small sort of side cave, and sneak into the tower and steal her phylactery and use it as a bargaining chip to force her to give you that information. So you left Baldur's Gate aboard the Diviner, a little keel boat, piloted by Harper Mage Colbrax. Colbrax sailed you to that side of the shore. You heard Romalia's horn out in the distance, signaling the start of the assault. And a lot of you made your way into the cave, down the stairs, and there you were in Zaldar's cellar. You infiltrated the cellar with some speed after some initial difficulties with a door with a skull face on it.
Oh boy.
But you actually managed, in hindsight,
Decently.
to do the shortcut side, essentially. You didn't go through the entire sort of structure. So you made your way through the dungeons, found a pseudo-dragon.
Yep.
Turned out to be one of Zaldara's old familiars, cast away now that she was sick of her, essentially. And this pseudo-dragon, whose name was Elenast.
Elenast.
Elenast was glad to be to see people who weren't Zaldara or skeletons. Was glad to be released and offered to help in whatever way she could to navigate the party through the cellar.
Really, she just escaped as soon as she could, but I'm not going to blame her.
Yep. Well, the next room you all sort of chanced upon after being attacked by 10 disembodied hands.
Yeah, that was fun.
This is your stop.
You found this room with these two pillars and a large iron chest. It turned out, after some experimentation and a fight with some circle ghosts.
I was not going to call them that because you got so mad at me last week.
Specters. There are two specters, and
I
there was a whole thing. Steven's initial character died.
Candles no more.
Candle in the wind is no more.
Weasel familiar jump on chest.
Yes, the
Yes.
weasel familiar jumped on the chest, exploded.
It really helped us.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good times.
But eventually, you were able to disable this trap that was in the room, open the chest, and find Zaldara's phylactery, which was a spell book bound in humanoid skin.
Because of course it is.
Pretty gross. And so with that,
Pretty
you
lovely.
exited with speed out of the cellar. Colbrax was able to transport you magically to teleport you to sort of the site of the battle, right, the front lines.
Yeah.
Where you met with Ramalia, who was pretty decently wounded, and Zaldara herself appeared, and there was a very tense conversation between
We're real
Zaldara
friends,
and the
right?
party, since Ramalia was basically chucked against a tree,
As you do.
and you all came to an agreement with Zaldara. Zaldara gave you some information, said that this death curse was originating from an artifact called the Soulmonger. And that the Soulmonger was this sort of necromantic magical artifact that was last she knew in the possession of a demi-lich named a Serac. And the Serac, you all know, is big business. So, given that information, you exchanged the spell book. She disappeared and sort of left the Harpers to tend to their wounded and
Left
so
our
on and so
flesh
forth.
intact as well.
Yes.
Which is nice.
That's always nice.
It did inform her of her familiar's betrayal.
Yep. And so, despite some heavy losses and some complications, the Harpers got what they wanted. So then the rest of you, the party, you went to Cinder's tent nearby in the Cloakwood, and she explained that, all right, so we're going to Chult. You're going to need some basic information. Thankfully,
I'm from Chult.
Rachel's character, whose name I can't remember.
Ruby.
Right now, Ruby. Ruby's character is from Chult. So the basic sort of moving and shaking going on in Chult right now is kind of covered. But she provided you a rough map of the continent of Chult. Now, the way that Chult is, it is essentially it's a very dark part of Africa, right? So
Chult Kyle is basically a huge swamp of things full of things.
swamp, jungle, volcanoes, the whole central part of Chult is an unmapped, difficult to navigate
Peninsula.
Nightmare, basically. Which is why, essentially, the only place of safety and culture, really, like the only proper city in Chult, is Port Nyanzara there on the north. That's where goods come and go. The 7 merchant princes keep a good handle on things, and people are safe there, generally speaking, right? If there are any sort of other little
Forts.
places, forts, camps, they're very tenuous at best, or there are ruins of once ancient cities that have been abandoned because they've been overrun by undead or something like that. So Port Nyanzaru is the place where you need to go. So Sindra explained all this and made sure that you were given a charter document to Port Nyanzaru. Turns out that Sindra was owed a favor or two by a captain, Captain Ordame. Captain Ordame, captain of the Brazen Pegasus, a ship that regularly went to and from Port Nyanzaru. And, of course, given this charter document, Captain Ordame would be more than happy to take you to Chult. So with that in mind, you return to Baldur's Gate. You boarded the Brazen Pegasus. There's a little bit of difficulty with the first mate, Grig. It was a little rough with you in the beginning, a little suspicious, but Captain Ordame quickly smoothed things over and took care of things. And
Hello.
Captain Ordame explained that, all right, we're going to Chult. This is probably the fastest boat you can be on. We're not a huge boat. We're not a galleon. You know, we're
Not a pleasure cruise.
we're a sloop, and this is not a pleasure cruise. But you know, if we go at top speed, we can get there within a matter of days instead of the 10-day or more that it would take on other vessels.
Travel is long.
You get set up. You meet on the docks a new fellow, Stephen's new character, Takde, a kobold wizard with a large cliche wizard hat. And he offers to join as an agent of the Harpers. He's wishes to come along and see this mission through. A junior agent of the Harpers. Point that out. First day.
Yep.
And so you get on the boat and you take off. You're sailing the seas between the Sword Coast and Chult. You start to get to know some of the people on board and Captain Ordame a little bit better. Some people know them biblically.
That's mostly.
One
that's
person.
only in here.
And two interesting things happen. Well, three interesting things. First, you spot some strange driftwood floating in the sea. Once recovered, you can see that is a 2-foot length of driftwood that had this strange symbol carved into it, which you later determined was a symbol of Umberlee. Umberlee, goddess of the sea and the storm and everything like that. A bad goddess, to be sure, right? Someone whom people worship out of fear rather than sort of
Love?
any kind of devotion.
Pray or get.
You eventually discovered that this was somehow, for some reason, it had become a magical item. It was previously a piece of inert, mundane driftwood, but was now a magical item imbued with some power of Umberlee. Then later, a few days later, you came across a longboat containing 3 dehydrated-looking men in torn naval uniforms. The oldest of which introduced himself as Captain Wolf, captain of a naval vessel called the Prosperous. And apparently the Prosperous had been the victim of a mutiny. Prosperous explained that he didn't understand any of what had happened. His crew seemed tight and professional and amenable the entire journey, but then there was a moment where something switched, something flipped. And the crew became fractious and argumentative. They seemed completely different from themselves. And eventually they mutinied and forced him and his two senior officers onto the longboat and cast them out. And that was the last that Captain Wolf had heard or seen him. And so they were glad to be picked up by the Brazen Pegasus. They were offered food and water, and they were explaining their sort of situation. And then the captain very gamely offered 500 gold pieces to the lot of you as a group
per person
if you would help him recapture Prosperous, which you agreed to do. Finally, you stumbled across the Prosperous, floating, not sailing, but floating in the middle of the ocean. You came upon it. It seemed abandoned from from the distance with the spyglass and everything. But once you got in a lifeboat, went alongside, or I think you used the longboat that the Prosperous people had used. You docked alongside, got on the ship, and realized that the deck was covered.
Bloody mess.
And it was a bloody mess, covered in bodies. It looked like the bodies of the crew of the Prosperous. Couldn't see a single living soul. While you were investigating this, you were menaced by a sea-ambling mound, which rose from the depths of the sea and attacked you, trying to drown Piere, I believe, at one point. But after
Killed one of the senior officers.
Yes, killed one of the senior officers of the Prosperous who'd gone with you to check out the ship. Captain Wolf had said, "Okay, go on and check the ship."
I think it was Angus.
Angus was killed by the sea-ambling mound. Yeah, I know. And
After I said that,
Classic Angus.
if the crew's there, they might want to kill Captain. He's like, yes.
I'll go.
the rest of you... So really, you all doomed Angus to his own death.
In a way.
So
Let him take your bone.
So after a tense battle with the sea-ambling mound, right, you had managed to slay it. You'd gotten Piere, fish him out of the water, and you found that you were no closer to sort of answers as to what happened to the Prosperous, because it made sense that the sea-ambling mound had sort of terrorized at least some of the crew. But that didn't explain the injuries, which looked more like conventional weapons. Or how it could have slaughtered 30-something people without there being some kind of damage to
To
it.
the boat. And also what caused the mutiny.
And what caused the mutiny in the first place, which was still a mystery. So that's where we were when we last left off.
Sorry, I was trying not to interrupt you.
What was going on?
The monitor's model number. I'm looking to see if there's a remote for it.
S24 C570L. Yeah, so last time we left off, you guys were, I think, still on the deck of the Prosperous, just kind
I
of
think so.
taking a breather and trying to figure
What
things
the
out.
fuck happened?
Yep.
So should we introduce our characters so Kyle can
Yes,
start
please
over our
introduce your characters.
names? Okay. My
Except you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I will let you know when it comes.
My character's name is Ruby. She's a shifter, so she looks kind of cat-like.
Because you have to attach an infrared receiver.
She's cool.
Lyonel Tealeaf, a halfling professor at the Citadel, historian.
He's a rogue.
I am now a Tomb Raider.
It's literally, Tomb Raider.
Rogues in a museum.
Tomb Raider and a womb.
But you don't have the polygonal tits.
Yet.
Yes.
Stereo.
My character is Emanuel Kant, and she is a paladin of Ilmater,
Later? Yep. Mm-hmm.
though she started out in the Temple of Sin.
Right, and now she sort of transitioned.
She likes to sleep with people.
Well, she had an interesting past because there's like this demigod that was all about cats and feasting and indulgence.
Sure. Why not?
Old habits.
Old head.
I mean, that fits for cats.
So-
And it does.
And orgies, and she was there for a little while, and they decided she was a better cleric than what that goddess deserved, so
Oh, sure, yeah.
they sent her to Ilmater.
All right.
You got reassigned.
Promoted.
If you want to look at it that way, promoted. Okay.
New
Tom?
title.
Oh, I am Piere Delecto. Human Horizon
Porn star.
Walker.
I assume.
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
No, Human Horizon Walker. So Ranger. So we're the two
Yet.
Yep.
There you go.
Probably already
Human
got
Horizon
Star.
Walker Ranger. That's right. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Takta.
Yep. Takte, the kobold. I grew up a little bit more on the rogue side, but once he was integrated into society, he's become a wizard. So, a little bit of both.
All right, so the lot of you on the deck of the Prosperous. Again, the bodies have littered the planks. You can still see the fresh body of Angus. Unfortunately,
Oh, I thought he was drowned in the
Struck.
water.
you still see the bubbles
Okay.
from the death of Angus. But sometimes I forget things.
Happens.
You still feel the spiritual presence
Okay.
of Angus.
It's clear water.
It's like
see all the way
ultra clean
down.
because see all the way down. There's a lot of bodies down there. Jesus.
Ooh, it's terrifying.
Yeah, so you still feel sort of the absence of Angus. You're basically by yourself on the deck of the Prosperous. And you hear a rattling coming from one of the hatches in the central portion of the deck.
Okay.
I go over to check it out.
Okay, it looks like that currently, because of the bodies sort of all piled around, that the hatch is trying to be forced open, but the weight is keeping it down.
I'll go over and help remove bodies.
Yeah.
I guess that sounds like fun.
Sure, yeah. You take a leg or two, an arm, grab slide these poor unfortunate assholes out of the way. And the hatch bursts open, and coming from the hatch, you see
Wooks.
a human cleric.
So, initiative?
All right.
Quick murder!
You see a human gentleman come out in clerical garb.
Well, we have a lot of questions for you.
We have many questions. First of all, what's with the name?
Literally drew it out of a hat.
My parents hated it.
I was born in a log cabin. Unfortunately, it was at sea.
A floating log. Perhaps you've seen our driftwood.
Isn't a floating log cabin just a boat?
A house cabin.
It's a boathouse.
Or a cabin boat.
It's a boathouse. Yes, very good. It's a houseboat.
I'm just confused now.
Okay.
I'll start lining up the bodies.
Stacking them like cordwood?
Well, like in a line, not like pyramid.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're trying to get, give
Get
them some
'em in
semblance
order.
of dignity, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing OCD about that.
I mean, it's
These
nice.
bodies in order.
Well, now they can be like
No, they need
properly
to be
assessed and
tallest
put
to
into a
shortest.
museum, right? You know,
Oh, it's much shorter.
So,
Here we go.
so Wooks, how much do you remember about being aboard the Prosperous?
I've been down here quite a while, so I don't even know where we're at.
dehydrated then?
A little bit.
Give you a water skin.
Do you remember hearing
Just
any-
the skin.
It's empty.
It's empty.
Dip it in the ocean there.
So we just,
salty?
Briny.
briny, yeah. Love it.
So were you a passenger or
Stowaway?
stowaway or cargo?
Cargo.
I'd rather not say at the moment.
Well,
Cargo?
it's a
Really?
little
Cargo as
important. Hey, if he's cargo, I don't know about the captain we just met. Just
Obviously.
saying.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's true. It does raise questions about Captain Wolf. Yeah.
Well,
Oh, you mean the cabin boy? Yes, of course.
Yes, I am Chris Elliott.
do you remember hearing anything? Because 30 people don't just die quietly.
I heard some things. What are you
Some things.
interested in?
How
Well,
about you give me an intelligence check?
just gesture around me to all the bodies.
What am I rolling?
So you're going to roll a d20, a single d20, and then you're going to add your intelligence modifier.
So you're going to take away
-1. I'm done.
Hey, it's a 1.
Hey, guess what? I can see you. We're gonna make that a 16, so now it's a 15.
Nice, all right.
So we'll cross the 16.
So with some encouragement from Takta, something about looking at this tiny lizard with a giant hat makes you feel better. And you're like,
you can
you know what? Yeah.
I do remember some things.
So what you're able to piece together is that you were previously, surreptitiously in the hold, on the lower decks of the ship, and letting the crew of the Prosperous go about their business. You stuck to the shadows and to the sort of lesser traveled portions of the ship when you started hearing discontent and violence among the crew. And the last thing that you remember is the sound of a battle, but not against some kind of monster, but the sound of swords clanging and ropes being taut and feet beating the top deck, and that's about all that you can remember before silence for several days.
Wow.
7 days.
So
Did
they
it
did.
sound like there was a winning side that left?
Oh, you're okay. Yeah, it sounded like with a 16, you remember enough that like clearly people left the boat. Yeah, that much you remember.
So we have a reasonable assumption then that it's humanoids. Do you know if they had ships or did they just go into the water?
I heard a lot of splashing, but I don't know if a ship rolled in and they boarded from there or things were thrown overboard.
Okay.
Well, we might just have to be on the lookout for whoever left. Still doesn't explain the
We should
sudden
definitely
mutiny.
check the hold. Between somebody who can cast detect magic and my senses, we
I
should
got
be
it.
able to find out if there's a magical object or an unholy object.
Sure. I think I cast detect
Start
magic
preparation.
when we first got up to the top deck, and it didn't ping anything.
Nothing on the top deck.
So let's go down to the hold, and I'll cast it. And
You should still have it. It's 10 minutes.
Assuming
the
you
battle.
concentrated the whole time. Yeah.
but the battle probably broke my
I'll probably
concentration.
just have to cast it again.
Let's
That's
cast it.
that's-
It's a
It
ritual.
was just
It's
this
a
like,
ritual. 10
sea
minutes.
ambling mound thing probably would have broken concentration.
Question.
Yes.
Is like Morse code or like
Yes, it
signaling?
is. Yes, it
a
is.
thing
I'm
in
glad
this?
you asked. Yes, not specifically Morse code. Oh, you've never.
For,
well,
like-
Samuel Morse, halfling inventor. No. Yes, usually people do sort of in like the oldest
bullseye.
lamp signaling. Yeah, like the bullseye lantern. So they're just
So I have a bullseye. I'm going to try to signal to
Pegasus?
our to the Pegasus crew dead.
just that.
Basically.
No added information.
So the next thing we see, the ship just leaves. Oh, they're all dead. All right.
Okay, so you get out your bullseye lantern.
Those
and
guys are...
it's like early afternoon, so you know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
It's kind of difficult to do, but you use the Aldous kind of style signaling, and sure enough, after a moment, you get a similar response from the Pegasus, which says it asks you assistance.
It'll be like safe investigating.
Okay, and then the final response will hold.
Roger.
I like this motion.
Let's all do this from now.
Well,
I go into the
well, it
hole.
is very much like light, not light.
I know,
Light, not
it's,
light.
it's fun. I
Like
like
for a
it.
while, quick.
Yeah, it's like Morse code, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really is.
short, long, short, long.
Because either they use like the flapping of the things, or they use flags.
Huge flags.
There we go.
Yeah.
Let's do semaphores.
Yeah.
Semaphore. That's right. Yeah, very good.
Okay, so if you're prepping detect magic, I will
Sure
prep.
will.
I will prep comprehend languages.
Cool. Well, I'm
Just
gonna
in
go down to the
case.
hold. So
Yep.
prep detect magic for like 10 minutes. Let's see if anything pings down there.
Okay, so you're heading down the hold. I'm gonna get over here.
It's so fancy.
So you can see. Fuck you!
Because he had it scaled for a minute.
God damn it. Okay. Well, we're not doing. So I don't have to be precise on my measurements here. No.
Just easier to
It's
see.
good.
All right. So you head down. This is where you were previously, Wooks. You can see as you're making your way down that there's not a lot in the way of lighting down here. Essentially what you're getting is filtering in from the daylight, either through the planks or a small porthole here and there.
It's fine. I've got night vision. No big deal.
You can see that there are several crates and barrels, most of which you can see at least
Still
stamped on the outside are, you're looking at rum, spices, salt, and that sort of thing. What seems like conventional
Just survived
shipped
for a long
goods.
time.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of sort of sections of sundries and and so forth. There's a table back there which has the sort of remains of what Wooks had been snacking on to sort of keep himself going for the past couple of days. You can see some hammocks essentially for the crew, sort of strung over the various beams and sides. There is a door to the rear, and then there is what looks like, at least back on the top deck, there was another hatch covered by some bodies that you could go down as well. So, what do you want to do? You're currently in this space here.
Right. Let's see. Detect magic is how far in range?
30 feet?
Let me check.
I think it's
30
30
feet.
30 feet.
30 feet? Well, it's enough to hit, let's see, if you stand in roughly the center of the boat, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It covers a good chunk of the boat.
Yeah, we
Okay,
could
so
both
just-
do it. You could stand on one end, I could stand on the other.
If you want to do that,
I have
that's
the
fine.
spell.
We'll do the Venn diagram like in...
That'd be
no.
great. I'll stand more on this
Or
side.
it's like headlights. You know,
So
just
I'm
get
gonna pop
smoke
a
around.
divine sense, and for a round it'll tell me,
Celestials, fiends, and undead, right?
and also anything that's consecrated or desecrated, as with the hollow spell.
Right.
Nice.
And it's 60 feet unless it's in full cover.
So basically,
Within
Line
sight.
of sight.
yeah, line of sight. So, yeah, okay. All right, so divine sense. So you get in contact with your sort of holy powers. You feel out the space.
So
There doesn't seem to be... You're not detecting any celestials, any fiends, any undead. But there's something pinging at the sort of the very edge of your awareness. Something has been desecrated here, but whatever it was is not here any longer. You're sort of feeling like the echo of the desecration, or the ripple.
the footprint,
Yeah.
So I go over to where that is and try to zoom the area.
Okay, you can see that you make your way off to the side over here, to the rear of the ship, and you can see that there is a portion of the ship well above the waterline, but just below the one of the portholes. A serious portion of the hull has been damaged. Several pieces of the hull itself are missing, and you're seeing just open sea.
I think I found something over here. There was something that had been desecrated over here, and it seems like it's been removed. Perhaps it was even part of the ship, because it seems like the ship was damaged when it was removed.
Like that plank we found?
Driftwood.
Yeah.
Might have been.
Well, but this looks a little bigger than that, right?
What's that?
The
driftwood
the
could have been
whole-
a part of
It
it.
could have been part of
Does
it.
it seem like it could have been part of a ship? The driftwood?
That's a good question.
Well, you've still got. That's back on the other ship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make an intelligence check.
I mean, when you say when I think of driftwood, I think of like a log, kind of misshapen and
Yeah, it's also true.
not manufactured like a piece of a ship would be.
Well, the
natural 20.
Nice.
you remember that piece of driftwood very well, and you know that in this sense it was driftwood in the sense of how you found it.
And
Okay.
just drifting
It
at
was
sea.
very much
Literally drifting
Wow.
wood.
given the shape of that thing, which you committed to memory. You could just have taken it with you onto the Prosperous, popped it right in there.
Yes, it definitely came from the ship.
So we really need to get that off that boat.
I would suggest so, yes.
Probably a museum.
You hear a series of explosions.
This is our boat now.
Their bullseye's going off like SOS.
We're all down below. We can't see shit.
Yeah.
I think I'm still up
Yeah,
on
I
top.
think you're on top.
And so you guys are going to do detect magic, is that right?
Okay,
Yeah,
like
let's-
lining up.
So the two of you,
lines.
you take your 10 minutes, you do your sort of
Rounds.
Venn diagram. Of
Detecting the shit out of the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are, yep.
double detected. So you realize that there is a kind of conjuration magic echo, much like what Emanuel described.
All right.
Hey.
Quit being assholes.
Much like what Emanuel described, but in the
Yeah,
sense
really
of
wants
conjuration.
that
Like there's some kind of lingering essence of conjuration magic being used.
Well, that's fun.
So Were they conjured something, desecrated it, took it with them?
Well, what if
Maybe,
that
yeah.
sea creature was what was conjured?
Yeah.
Conjure
Did we
creature?
check the drift? The driftwood was evil, right? We did
Yes.
check it.
Yeah, we talked.
It was
to
some
it and
bad stuff.
Identified
Yeah.
it and
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
The driftwood, if you
so-
remember, was once it was identified, it was actually a magical club, essentially. That if you held it and
Took madness.
if you said a prayer to Umberly, or some kind of thing to Umberly, you would gain a form of short-term madness, but this thing would become like magic.
Okay,
item
so
club.
that's definitely what happened, right?
Sounds like it.
So this driftwood was cursed. Somebody used it and said a prayer to Umberly. Made the crew go mad against the captain.
Now you and your Wooks in your in your attempt to stay as far away out of that business as humanly possible, weren't able to get a good look at what had happened down in this deck. You do recall that it seemed like, you heard at least, some humanoid figures moving around, what sounded like chanting, and some sort of swordplay going on, and then the sound of some cracking and sort of damage, which now that you're seeing as you're coming out and taking a full scope of the lower deck, must have been damage to the boat, to the Prosperous.
We need to get off this boat, get back on our boat, and get rid of that driftwood.
Should we check the lower deck first?
Well, there's still there's a door here, and there's still a
Sure, let's finish scoping it out. We might as well.
Oh, so there's 2 decks, right?
Okay. So you're here. Right there. You open that door, and you find yourself in essentially the cannoneering room. There are cannonballs and gunpowder, all mysteriously untouched. So, by that token, it seems as if the battle, whatever it was, did not involve the 2 ships, per se. Because otherwise, this would have been touched. And in fact, you would have heard cannon fire, and there would have been probably still powder and burn marks, scorching and stuff, and the smell from cannons being discharged.
Not over days.
Otherwise, so you take a look around, and there are some extra cannons sort of stacked in there to replace some cracked or corroded ones. Some barrels with gunpowder and quite a lot of cannonballs. Nothing inside.
I'll open my divine senses again.
Nothing. Not in this room anyway. You're still getting the echo from this portion.
Okay. This one seems clean.
This house is clear.
Go down to the other hold, I guess.
Okay, so you go back up to the top deck, take your way down, and you find yourself in the captain's quarters.
Yep.
It's an area with a nicely furnished bed. There's a desk with nautical charts stretched across it. And you can see that there is a bookshelf with all manner of sort of journals and scrolls that have been wrapped up, and what seem to be like treatises on sailing and officer behavior and all manner of things. And this place seems similarly untouched.
I'll roll up his nautical charts and whatever else he's
Captain's log.
Okay, yeah, grab a couple of literally the captain's log. Yeah. Like the log lady in
There we go.
it's literally his
Before
log.
you grab that, let's check out the captain's log.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Okay, so you open up the small leather journal and you take a look. Inside are the writings of what you can assume to be Captain Wolf. As you're reading through, it tracks with his explanation of what happened. He says that he over several days discovered a sense of temperament changing amongst the crew. He recounts specifically in the book about there being a sort of he wasn't sure if it was just his imagination or not, given that he was distracted by the slow, mutinous sort of rise of his crew. There was a sort of strange smell aboard. Something he described as acrid and sulphurous. Other than that, the the entries all track with the information that he gave you, and the final one is actually interrupted. You can see a sort of a long streak of ink where it looks like pen moved, a quill pen moved off of paper rather suddenly.
Yes, he's eating. It's okay.
Can't have this stuff.
Sulfurous, huh?
Acrid and sulfurous is what Captain Wolf Center described.
Just very. Try to sneakily lean over and sniff Wooks real quick.
You do? I do. Oh, no, he seems.
great.
He smells
Good.
like a human
I
being.
haven't
Awesome.
bathed for a while.
I
I've
mean,
been down
it's
here.
not great, but it's
but
all.
it's not sulfur.
No,
so,
it's not
okay.
sulfur.
Mostly beans to eat. That's not my fault.
Beans, not eggs. That might have been, you know, might.
Ah, yes, the musical.
I think maybe they had summoned a demon.
That sounds healthy. Okay, let's get this stuff and get back to the ship. Was there something else to do?
I mean, you can set the ship on fire. Yes.
That feels a little extreme.
You go back to Captain Wolf on the Brazen Pegasus. You're like, I just couldn't do it. Couldn't save it.
I set the ship on fire.
No, we talked about. Remember?
Tell them.
See,
Get your
there's
stories.
a lot of
It was
black
an
powder.
accident.
So while we're
That would
just
not fly with my character.
Oh yeah, no, it's true.
so,
What,
we get you on the longboat, and then someone gets like a line of black powder, and it explodes
Over
while
the
we're back.
ocean.
There we
Yes.
Like, oh, how
That line coming back to us had nothing to do with us at all. So what is the cargo? Can we get a sense of what the cargo is?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to actually open up the crates,
Sure.
yeah. So you take a moment, you open up a barrel and a crate or two. Sure enough, it is what it says on the crate. The stencils all prove you're looking at dry goods, you're looking at sundries, you're looking at spices and salt and all manner of things that will keep over a sort of a long voyage.
Sure. And it's intact. There's nothing missing. There's
No,
nothing that-
not a thing. No, it seems like the cargo was untouched.
Okay.
nothing like interesting or worth taking.
Well, I guess we give it back.
You want to
Spice
signal
is
them
pretty
and
good.
see, signal the Brazen Pegasus and see if we need any supplies, I guess?
If we need any supplies, or should we take over the supplies?
We should probably just go back, report
the
our
captain
findings,
decide.
And if they need anything, we can
and
come get it.
we'll decide what to do from there.
Well, we could always just tell them to come alongside.
That's true, yeah.
It seems safe enough for that, aside from the, gunpowder's always a worry, but no threats at the moment.
Alright, yeah, let's
I'll
come
say
alongside.
safe to approach.
Okay.
Sounds good.
They confirm, and then you could see that the Brazen Pegasus unfurls their sails and begins heading towards
I'd
the
probably try
side
to
of
like
the ship.
anchor, or if it's not anchored, try to like.
Yeah, you drop
Drop
anchor.
anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so after a few minutes, the Brazen Pegasus comes to the side. They set up a gangplank onto the deck, and you can see the rock gnome form of Captain Ordame Swiftendark, who, for your reference, looks like this.
Which is pretty cool.
That's Captain Ordame. Okay.
Well, we may have found where that piece of driftwood came from.
And I think we need to get rid of it immediately.
Yes, Emanuela said it would fit perfectly in the side of that ship.
So Captain Ordame sort of strides on board. Jesus, holy mother of God.
Oh, I should have mentioned how bloody it was.
Yes, that would have been good to signal on the lantern before I came on.
Lots of blood.
I take it this is the crew of the Prosperous?
I did say the crew was dead, yes.
Here they are, aligned by height.
Well, you said crew dead. Could have been any crew. It's important to confirm. And you said something about the driftwood?
Yes, Emanuela found the exact spots that it would have fit into.
And something there was desecrated.
We wonder if that
and
is what caused the
possibly
mutiny.
a summons.
Of what?
Could be anything. A demon seems likely.
Oh, good.
We use it as like a tuning fork to find whatever it was.
I think it would be...
I'm not most magically inclined, but I don't think it works that way.
Greg, bring Captain Wolf aboard! And sure enough, Greg brings over
Captain
Like crazy.
Yeah, just like lurch.
This should kill him.
Captain Wolf comes aboard, still in his sort of kind of torn naval uniform. He hasn't taken it off out of a sense of pride, probably.
Probably get a fresh set of clothes from his cap.
He walks on board, and then you can
Slight
see
sulfur smell.
the sort of color drain from his face. You can see sort of the gravity of what's happened hit him.
We've got bad news about Angus, too.
What happened to Angus?
Dragged under.
By a sea ambling mound who's large and green and wanted to kill us.
Will you kill Leon?
I will kill him, yes. I will at least take him out to pee.
So, you see again. There's this sense of profound loss on the captain's face. You can see that, and now more so than ever, even when you first saw him with the longboat, dehydrated, having not eaten and drank for quite some time, this is the oldest that he's ever looked.
I hide behind the crew so that he can't notice me.
Sure. So he sort of sweeps the deck and gives a kind of a he gives a small sort of religious gesture near his chest. Well, I suppose reward is in order. You did retrieve the Prosperous, and for that you should be repaid.
Do you have a preference for your crew? Should they be buried at sea, or
You should know that whoever did this seemed to have left, and it was most likely humanoid, we've determined.
it was not the creature that we encountered?
Yes.
Pirates, perhaps?
We've determined that conjuration magic was used, that there was desecration of some kind. You think that evil driftwood that we picked up is from your ship.
So there's religious pirates of could be.
This is
In my
assuming-
experience, most pirates aren't very religious.
Yes.
This is assuming they're all the same forces. They could be
Indeed.
one who drove them mad and another who came upon them later.
But
By the way,
I
we
don't.
found someone in your hold.
If it were pirates, though, your cargo is still intact, untouched.
The cargo is fine.
Untouched. Yeah,
My
as far as
boys
we
are
can
dead.
I'll just hand him his maps and cabin log.
Thank you.
Your cabin is also untouched.
Small favors. You were there? You were the one they found in the cargo hold? Is that right?
Yes.
What's your name, sir?
Most call me Wooks.
Wooks. I don't remember you being aboard the Manifest.
And you wouldn't find me there either.
Stowaway, eh?
You may say so.
You see Captain Wolf actually storm forward and grab you by the lapels, essentially. You've been there this whole time, and you did nothing to help my boys.
I can't let myself be known.
He sort of forcibly shoves you away.
I like put a handle on Captain Wolf.
Just kind of like surreptitiously stand in front of me.
I,
Block him from
Take it
view.
easy.
Like,
that
stop
kind
making me
What?
angry.
Aren't you suspicious? That makes me more suspicious. That Captain doesn't know him.
He takes a long drag of his beard.
Clearly a fucking stowaway.
My apologies.
Is he a stowaway or is he the person who caused all this?
well, that is something that we have to find out.
Right.
He's not a truth.
I must admit, I am at a bit of a loss.
Looks like it holds spells.
I had hoped to recapture my ship with at least some of the crew intact so that we could sail back to Piere. But now, with the crew gone,
Could we tow it behind the
Should be able to. Just one person
cabin order?
here to help steer.
Suppose we'll have to talk to Ordame about it.
Captain Ordame looks over as you mention that and says, well, we could, but that's going to make our journey a little bit longer than we anticipated. Also, since we're a sloop, of course, the Prosperous itself is a similar class ship, but much heavier, as you can see. It'll be difficult, but we can do it. If that's what you want, Captain Wolf.
Sounds like there should be a surcharge for that.
I think we're getting paid well enough as is.
No, not for us. I'm saying for Captain.
That's a fair point.
However,
You
Captain
don't have
Wolf,
to buy a new ship.
your ship was desecrated and part of it was taken out. Do you really want to chance it, given what happened to your last crew?
Yeah,
I
I was
don't know.
superstitious lot.
Cargo's probably quite valuable, though.
The cargo was routine fare, something that we would ship to and from Chult on many an occasion.
Maybe leave it anchored here and pick it up on the way back.
Assume the pirates don't get it.
Depends on where you want to go, I guess. Chult or Baldur's Gate.
We're only a day out from Schultz, aren't we?
It's true. Yeah, you're very close to Chult, actually.
Wouldn't add too much, I would think.
If that's where he wants to go, I think it's fine.
You see him straighten himself up. He adjusts
Needs
sort
a
of
new
the
crew.
remains of his uniform. This is my ship. I have served at the Prosperous's helm for many a year. And so I will pilot this vessel back to Chult. If you will speak with my remaining senior officer, he will give you the reward that I promised you, and he and I will attend to this vessel. You have done your duty.
Okay, how much do I know about sailing ships?
Yeah, you're going to need more than two. He knows that.
Do you have training?
Not much.
Navigating?
It's
What'd you
just
get?
like a 6.
Well, you don't know very much.
But I'm pretty sure it takes more than 2 people, right?
Well, it's a sloop.
Typically.
Really, you need someone to steer the vessel,
Uh-huh.
and you need someone to attend to the sails, the rigging and everything, like making sure that it's unfurled and refurled and so on and so forth. So really, you don't need that many people. It just becomes exponentially harder and tedious for a small amount of crew to do it as opposed to a large amount of crew, right? Because you have somebody at each station rather than somebody running around. But it is feasible.
What's
Doesn't
the
it have
likelihood?
multiple sails, though?
What is the likelihood
sloop
that this
does,
is
yes.
some
Tack
this
the
is some
sails.
manly show of going down with his ship that he doesn't want us to see with his senior officer?
Give me an insight check then on Captain Wolf.
Because I think if I just ask him that, he might be offended. So
Oh,
you know, can't roll anything. Can I use fortune, please? Because that was a 7. Sure. Nope, that was worse. Awesome.
As
What'd
it
you get?
goes.
Like a 3.
All you get from him as you're sort of looking at him is a sense of that sort of deep well of sadness, that sort of the loss of what was essentially a large portion of his, naval career, his life.
Yeah.
He knew these men and well, and that sense of profound loss, and also a kind of there's a sort of focus to him now.
Yeah. That's,
sense of duty.
that's
A
fine.
sense of duty. Yeah.
That sense of duty could go either ways.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Either get him home or
Die trying.
get him to the bottom of the fucking ocean at this point.
Davy Jones.
So I'll go up to, what's the captain of our ship?
Captain Orderman?
Ottoman.
Ask her what she thinks of his plan quietly so nobody else can hear.
Well, I've been a captain for a long time, and I know how captains think. They're very tied to their vessels, like a member of the family, much like the crew. If I know anything about the kind of man that Captain Wolf is, I know a little based on conversation we've had. It's his job to see this through, even if it takes a great personal toll on him. Now, a ship like that, it's going to be difficult to sail with just 2 people. Not impossible, but a hell of a pain in the ass.
Could you spare some of your crew for a few days until he gets to Chult with his ship?
Captain, are you heading to Port Nyanzaru? Yes, I am. We'll offload the cargo there, and then I will make my new plans. I think we can do that. Great. Have a couple of the sailors 5 make their way onto the Prosperous and to assist Captain Wolf. There you are, Captain. You've got a little bit more of your running crew. Thank you very much. Good. There we are. So that's settled. Unfortunately, if we want to get to Chult on time and to keep an eye on the Prosperous here as we go, we need to set sail as soon as possible.
Let's go.
All right, everyone aboard. And you see that she walks up and sort of clasps, Captain Wolf's arm. Sorry for your loss. And so a lot of you go down the gangplank and to the deck of the Brazen Pegasus. Crew, the 5 sailors make their way over, and the gangplank gets pulled off, and you begin to sail away, and you can see sort of standing there amongst the bodies, the captain and the senior officer, and the new crew members, so to speak, of the
I'm sure they're
Prosperous.
thrilled to be there.
Temporary.
Seeing them standing there, sort of kind of absorbing this moment.
The 5 sailors who came over,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give them each a gold piece.
Oh, lovely. They
Give them a little more motivation, I guess.
They all of them, thanks, sir. One of them even bites it with his teeth to make sure that it's genuine.
Emanuel, do you think you could fashion a vessel or container for the driftwood to try to contain its energies?
I would just assume we were going to throw the thing the hell off.
That was kind of my idea too.
Well, then no.
Great, we're all on board.
It'll find another ship. We should probably destroy it
Ah,
properly.
that's not exactly my problem, is it?
Well, I will make it my problem.
How do we destroy it before it takes hold on the ship?
All right, fair enough.
Burn it with fire?
Also,
Usually, yes.
I suddenly
Well,
remember
not-
the symptoms and
not
start
aboard the
sniffing
ship.
them.
Not aboard.
Yes,
Mind you.
let's be clear. My ship and fire, most ships and fire, in fact, don't mix very well.
We'll wait till we're at
Do we have a
port and see
stove?
if we can get rid of it there.
Do you have a stove?
A stove? Well, is it a luxury vessel? A yacht? What should you expect from me? No, we don't have a stove.
It's been 8 days of cold gruel.
Yum.
Lukewarm if you're willing to, vibrate a little bit.
Just going to walk
Or leave it out
around
on deck.
and surreptitiously smell for sulfur everywhere I go.
Okay, you're getting a kind of a sulfurous odor on the top deck, but you quickly realize that you're standing next to arguably the grodiest sailors on board the Brazen Pegasus. So if it's coming from anywhere, it's probably coming from them.
Which doesn't slow down Emanuel at all.
Well, no, I mean that's
The scent of human.
that's but one that's what one color on the palette of eroticism.
I don't like that at all.
That doesn't feel good.
Okay, so the captain turns to you. If it's going to be your responsibility, I'm fine with that, provided that you do not endanger my ship or my crew.
Very well.
Contain it. It's on you. Understand?
Got it.
Good.
Got it. Pushing up the wizard head is
Pushing
always
wizard hat.
a confidence builder.
Greg, if you'll attend
I got
to matters here on the deck, I will return to my quarters and make a log of this event. Great. And she makes her way back down to her captain's quarters.
Well, Wooks, welcome to the Brazen Pegasus. You don't have to hide with the cargo. I mean, I guess unless you want to.
It's preferred. but-
Watch out for Top Day. Top Day seems to have taken up down there too.
It's pretty nice down there. The sun's rather bright all the time.
It surprisingly smells worse on this ship than it did the sea ships.
Well, that's mostly you. You should go.
Yeah, let's go take
Walk.
advantage of
That's
this.
fair.
Facilities.
So a lot of you are back aboard the Brazen Pegasus. It is sailing towards Chult. Is there anything that you'd like to do?
I mean,
I'm
I
keeping an
will.
eye on him.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I will aid Top Day if there's any way I can. I'm not sure I can, but
Okay, talk to you. What's your plan for dealing with this driftwood?
Spending just a little bit of time, going over notes, personal journal, picking up on anything of, the destruction of cursed or blessed items, how to do it properly, those kind of things.
Okay, give me an Arcana check then. Do you have any of your? Did you bring any of your books with you? Do you have
I at least always carry my journal with me.
Okay, we'll give you advantage because you might have notes from the rest of your studies.
Can I assist?
Well, he's already got advantage.
Okay.
So yes.
double advantage.
We're going to use portents on that.
Okay.
So that's going to be a 15 plus 6, so 21.
21. Very
21.
good. Very good. All right. So you
probably less usual need
pour
today.
through your journal, and thankfully, in your initial studies as a wizard, sort of the sexiest thing to take notes about is, of course, cursed objects and demons and all manner of stuff.
It's
So
like learning swear words, you know.
and
cursed
so you've got
items.
plenty of information on that. You
Farsi
know,
curse words.
you know that in order to sort of neutralize
We
this
did learn
thing,
asshole.
there are two ways of going about it. One, you take this thing to a particularly highly qualified cleric or priest or some sort of holy person of a temple, probably one of, good alignment, like, you're looking at somebody like Lathander or something, to take the thing and essentially cleanse it, right? To use their magic to sort of decurse the thing, right? Or you can essentially obliterate the thing. If there's something that you can do to destroy the piece, whatever it is, so thoroughly that it doesn't really have a physical form anymore, essentially the curse is moot, right? Because the object that it was attached to doesn't exist anymore. Yeah.
Might need some Nomadic Alchemist fire.
Potentially, yes.
But it would have to be pretty effective,
Yes.
like vaporize this thing,
Turn it to ash. Spread the ashes to the sea. There's some options.
That way, there's a little bit of
It's
curse
still fire.
Everywhere.
all over the sea. Everywhere.
Schultz already cursed.
So just dump it somewhere in Port Nyanzar, like,
There's no EPA or whatever,
Still sounds
put it
like
in a
fire,
beggar's
though.
bowl, a blind beggar's bowl.
Sounds like a pretty good answer, I think.
Make some Jello.
Didn't
out
the
of
captain
ash.
say no fire?
Not on the
On the
ship.
ship, yeah.
I'll wait until we get to port to attempt anything with it.
But what happens if...
Perhaps
We're only a day away.
I can make
Consecrate?
introductions at the local temple of Ilmater. I'm sure they would have somebody who's more knowledgeable about these things.
Sure.
So we just have to make sure we don't activate it?
That should be easy. Just like,
Nobody hold it and pray.
shoving it into the backpack as he's saying that.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, you've give the driftwood figured out.
Skip.
What about the rest of you?
Anything
to do on board?
Sailors I seduce.
Oh, right, yes, of course. Give me a charisma check, please.
Try to stay out of the way of Emanuel.
Oh, it's not too many this time. I got a 7.
You managed to get a repeat customer,
Wow, word of mouth.
but the experience is less than enjoyable because this crew member is still distracted by the sort of horror they witnessed aboard the Prosperous. So they're not, our heart's not really into it.
This is a therapy session.
Yeah.
Nothing,
You know.
nothing
But
worse
then
than
I
cry
make him
fucking.
feel better about himself.
For a moment afterwards, yeah. There was a moment where it was just like, oh,
For 5 seconds.
And a moment of happiness there. I don't know.
the afterglow, if you will.
Yeah, that's the point.
Good. Well, in that case, you would succeed.
You need your
The
dopamine.
depression setback.
Well, as it always does.
Give it time.
So, Wooks, is there anything that you'd like to do aboard the ship while attention isn't necessarily being laser focused on?
Oh, yes, it is.
Well, other than Piere, who's just sort of...
Every time you turn around, just looking around a pillar.
I'm unfamiliar with my surroundings, so I'm just kind of sitting back and looking and taking things in quietly.
Okay. The layout of the ship is for the most part very similar to that of the Prosperous. It's a similar sloop. The dressings of the lower deck and the upper deck are a little more. I mean, you were previously on a tight fit, sort of tight colored naval vessel, right? So things were a little more regimented and a little cleaner. Down here, it's a little more loose and haphazard. There's a kind of a piratical feel to it, but not so much that you would think you were on a pirate vessel. Just a freelancer, a freebooter, or something like that.
By the way, don't touch the cargo. The captain would get very mad. Very, very specific instructions.
That's our one instruction.
Can we rent
Cargo, you say?
Don't tell me not to do things. I do ask Piere what his distrust in me is.
You're the only survivor on that ship. The captain didn't know who you were.
That's fair.
The rest of the crew, with this new person on board, they have looked at you, Wooks, like periodically, sort of giving you an eye and like, gone back to their work. But they're, I think, as surprised as Piere or anybody else that somebody survived that thing. And
That
came aboard.
horse show.
Yeah. Okay. So, the rest of the day, thankfully, passes without incident as you continue full speed ahead towards the Chiltern Peninsula. Finally, hours and hours later, the sailor up in the crow's nest, land ho! And you can see out in the distance the form of the Chiltern Peninsula begin to come over the horizon. So, very quickly, Captain Ordame and Grigg both make sure that they are front and center up on the piloting portion, like the, what do you call it? The deck where the wheel is. You know what I'm talking about? The helm. They're on the helm of the ship. And all the sailors are ready, and they're sort of taking a look. You can see that the person on the crow's nest has actually come down with a spyglass and is sort of scanning the ocean. Captain Ordame points out, Chiltern Peninsula, here we are. See? And in record time, as I explained.
Even with the detours, I know.
Even with the detours, yes. The Brazen Pegasus is a quick ship. We're a tight crew here, despite the, looks could be deceiving, let's say.
Very impressed.
Now, I take it a lot of you, as soon as we dock in Port Nyanzaru, are going to go about your separate ways, is that right? From us, I mean.
Yes.
We've got another assignment we've got to pick up and get that transferred into the cargo and make our way back to Faerun. Unfortunately, we can't help you out. We'd love to. God knows that we owe Sindra a couple of favors or two, but we also have a business to consider.
Yeah.
So, yes, you'll be here quite some time.
You've provided great assistance.
I agree, it is great assistance. Thank you very much for recognizing. Well, it'll only be a matter of time. Again, as I believe I've mentioned before, watch your person in Port Nyanzaru. It's a lively place in both good and bad senses of the word. So enjoy yourselves, but also keep your hands in your pockets.
We've all spent time in Baldur's Gate.
Indeed. Imagine Baldur's Gate that is the same level of complexity of bodies and commerce and information moving to and fro, but also it's really fucking hot.
Everyone gets stir crazy.
Just don't let your guard down. How about that?
Exactly what she said. You hear one of the sailors at the far end of the bow with the extended spyglass do a quick whistle. What is it? Ship approaching!
Is it prosperous?
She actually walks up, takes the spyglass, takes a look,
Flags they display.
turns all the way around. It's not the Prosperous, they're back there.
Uh-oh.
They don't seem to be flying any livery of any kind.
That's not good.
Huh. Wait. And sure enough, you see what looks like signaling being done from a lantern on board the ship. A similar-sized ship slowly coming out away from Port Nyanzaru, away from the Chiltern Peninsula, in the general direction of the Brazen Pegasus. You can see Captain Ordame peering through the spyglass. Says they want to
Parlay.
meet. Something about merchants, news of unrest in Port Nyanzaru. Hitch alongside. Shh. All right, folks. Here's the problem.
Did you spy a name on the ship?
Not a thing.
So they could be pirates.
That's the troublesome part. The waters just outside of Port Nyanzaru, as I mentioned before, crawling with pirates.
We have not
And-
found one yet.
And they're tricky sorts. But at the same time, I don't recognize this vessel. It doesn't look, not to judge a book by its cover, doesn't look like a pirate vessel. That thing looks like an upscale ship.
Should we say send a longboat to convene?
A merchant vessel would still fly flag of some kind.
You'd think so.
Even pirates fly merchant flags until they get right up close.
Well, that's true.
She takes a moment to sort of consider herself, stands on the deck.
Is this more harbors?
It's hard to tell. I'm
Do
getting
I
limited
know-
information, and I can't tell anything from the ship or the lack of livery.
Say it's been a while since I was in Cholt. Do I know of anything like this happening in my travels to and from Cholt or what?
This kind of specific incident?
Yeah.
No.
Like, okay.
Well, we
Yeah,
can
I
outrun
guess
them, you
that's-
think? If we get in trouble?
Oh, we can outrun them, I can assure you of that. But do we want to? That's the problem. If they're being forthright about this news, about Port Nyanzaru, we might be sailing directly into a trap. Or God knows a riot. Huh.
Perhaps we'll learn more about this ship as we get closer to it.
It is
That's-
your ship, and I will do what you think is best.
I still think we should have a convoy, send 2 longboats to meet. Not bring the ships.
I don't want to risk the convoy being blown out of the water on the way towards the other ship, just in case they have cannoneers.
So this ship is coming from Port Nyanzaru.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys are heading this way, and the ship is coming.
Right.
Greg?
So even if we avoid it, it's still going to hit
Yep.
Prosperous.
Well, it's going to come this direct. Yeah. The Prosperous is right behind you, off to the side. Yeah.
We must act as shield.
Greg, adjust the heading 10 degrees starboard, please. We'll get closer to it. We'll take a look. If anything looks suspicious, we head up. Full speed. Agreed?
Sounds good.
We should probably signal the Prosperous to let them know.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I will.
We're all agreed. Yes? Good, because I'm the captain.
So it's
It was more of a moral thing. I'm going to do
We support
whatever
you
I
in your
want.
decision.
Very good. Thank you very much. Greg, if you'll accompany Mr. Tealeaf
Yes.
here, if you'll get him
Professor.
to signal the Prosperous that we are coming aboard an unknown coming upon an unknown vessel. Meanwhile, I'll be up here to
UFO.
parlay or to light a match if necessary.
Unidentified floating object.
It is a UFO, technically. Okay. So, sure enough, the 2 ships slowly begin to sort of line up, come towards each other, line up along the side. As it draws closer, you get a better look at this ship. You can see that this ship has got sort of a red and gold kind of as you're coming out of the sun and the reflected light and everything and the distraction of the fog and the horizon. You can see that it's got of a red and gold kind of paint job. It's got a kind of an as Captain Orme mentioned, a sort of an upscale look. It looks like if it is a merchant ship, it's owned by a pretty well off merchant. It is, again, of a similar sort of style to the Brazen Pegasus. It's a kind of a sloop ship, with a limited amount of decks, but it's in good condition. It seems to be, from what you can see, a ship for leisure, or perhaps for a ship of wealth, rather than a ship of cargo shipping or work or a pirate ship for that matter, a traditional pirate ship.
Right.
Captain Ordame is still looking through the spyglass at the ship as it's approaching.
Anything look off to you,
Prepped and
Captain?
ready for a fight.
Anything look off to you, Captain?
Is the crew?
Everything looks off to me, but
How much crew?
what
can you
day is
see?
it?
Starting to feel very Wrath of Khan.
Let's see. We've got about...
We're approaching the reliance.
It's a limited crew. I'm seeing... Let's see. One,
Their
two...
cannon ports.
Oh, they've got cannons, all right. It's not unusual when you're sailing the waters of Chult. But, let's see here. They're about as armed as we are. I'm spying...
Is anyone near the cannons?
Yeah, any unusual activity on deck.
No one near the cannons, at least. They're sitting on the side. They're lounging around the deck. There's about 8 people, humanoids, that I can see on deck.
Would you like one or two of us to go over and not threaten the rest of your crew?
No. I want them on this ship. That way I can control the environment.
All right.
What I would like you to do, however, if you're willing, that includes your new friend here, if you'll act as my envoy, if you will.
Of course.
When we set up a connection between these two ships, I want you to go over there and offer to escort the captain, whoever they are, over to the ship so we can talk business.
All right.
Good. Sure. So slowly, ships angle alongside each other. They both drop anchor. And sure enough, gangplank is set across. And a lot of you make your way down the creaky gangplank towards the deck of the ship. No!
Zooming in hands.
Vertical.
Come on. I love it. It's Blackwatch play. So here you are aboard this ship. You can see that it is similarly set up with the cannons and everything. It's got this sort of gold statue-like figure sort of on the bow of the ship. It's inlaid with sort of these fine sort of gold accents and things like that. Again, it's a state-of-the-art kind of high, top-of-the-line ship. Aboard, you see a group of sailors in what look like standard issue sailing outfits. Loose shirts, leathers, and sort of canvasy trousers and that sort of thing. You see what looks like just a massive half-orc, big gut, who's just sort of like standing there, clearly the muscle on the ship. And by him is a gentleman with sort of dark black hair, long, and a full black beard, in what looks like a rather stylish sort of nautical kind of uniform, if you will. Not in the sense of Captain Wolf, but more like a sort of a fine jacket and pants. He looks like a sailor.
British officer.
He looks like a captain straight out of a Penny Dreadful or a dime novel. He looks like basically like Errol Flynn, essentially. Right? This gentleman.
I don't immediately recognize him as someone powerful and Jolt.
This gentleman looks like this.
Almost has like a Dracula vibe to him.
Congrats, we just drifted into
Into Ravenloft?
Into Ravenloft.
Why?
That's a swerve.
HMS Barovia.
Wouldn't that'd be a power play, wouldn't it? Fuck you, we're playing Chris Estrada.
I'd be so excited, you have no idea.
Boathouse.
Yeah.
I've still never played that.
Death House, but not
It's a
Poker.
good
You
run.
see, Tom hasn't played it.
It's been around since the beginning of D&D, and I've
Yeah.
never
Yes,
played
Todd.
any of its iterations.
I've played some of it. Steven's played a little
We'll
bit.
get back to it.
Yeah.
It's one that I love doing, and I'm going to go back to it.
It's a very moody one. Yeah.
Oh,
It is, absolutely. So, you're all aboard, and this gentleman the black hair, and clearly the captain based on his uniform and everything, strides forward. And who's in front? Who's like the sort of leading this charge?
I'm in the back.
Yeah, I'll be in the front with Emanuel.
We only have one leader type.
So sees you, offers his hand out, clasps forearms. Dylan, you son of a bitch, that kind of thing.
We represent Captain Orderman.
Captain Orderman of the
Brazen Pegasus.
Brazen Pegasus. Very good.
We'd love to invite you over to her ship to discuss things.
Of course. Great.
I'm just eyeing the half-orc.
The half-orc is kind of giving you a stone-faced,
I want to
just
see.
a hint of sneer.
I want a face-off between him and Greg from the fucking.
Greg?
Oh, that was great.
See who can grunt more intimidate.
I think Emanuel's conducting that study too.
I'm looking at the crew and kind of trying to see if they're concealing any weapons or anything.
Okay, give me an insight check then.
Good idea.
Good idea.
+3 on wisdom. It's 20, right?
Well, if your insight is better than your modifier,
Skilled in it?
you skilled in. What's your insight bonus?
Skills.
+3.
Okay, so it's the same. So roll d20 and then add that 3.
Nat 20.
Nice.
Very nice. +3, 23.
Very
That's good.
insightful.
Very good. So you take a look at the sailors. You've been around the docks,
Been on
docks
the
long
ship.
enough and interacted with sailors long enough to know generally how they are. These sailors,
That abused you too. It abused.
there's something shifty about them. They are, changing the weight on their feet periodically, right? They kind of are
No.
adjusting themselves. They look not nervous so much, but sort of slightly anxious. And they have there's a roughness about their faces, their skin, their hands and everything that clashes with the more sort of kind of cleaner, well-kept look of their clothes. There's something odd about them. As far as the weapons being concealed, you can't see anything per se.
Does it smell like sulfur?
No, not out here. Not it's on the top deck, in the open air. Not yet.
So, okay.
They're just in the barrels.
So Emanuel is going to escort the captain back to the Brazen Pegasus.
In arm.
And we're all going to keep our asses right here and stare at the crew, I guess, while they talk. Is that the plan?
The plan was for us to all go back.
I think so.
Don't know how I feel about that.
Friends, I'm more than willing to do whatever you'd like.
Why don't you come aboard and talk to Captain then?
Of course.
Captain will
What do
tell us
you
how
plan
to
on
proceed.
doing here? I mean,
Let's go take him back to the captain.
Yeah.
Yes, please, and with a little bit of haste, I have some important information to give your Captain Ordame. Is that right? Yes. Very good.
of course, then. Please.
And please, lead the way.
And I gesture into the boat.
Okay. So makes his way over the gangplank. Up. Heel! And you see the half-orc. Will you come with me, please? My first mate, if you would. If you'll come down, be careful on the gangplank. You're a hefty boy. We don't want the thing to collapse. Come
Is it
on.
against protocol to have both the first mate and captain off the ship?
Have you watched any Star Trek?
So, are you saying this out loud to him? Or are you just saying
Yes.
it out in the air? Okay. He sort of leans over and says, "Oh, we're not much for protocol on my ship. We're sort of a free spirit and lot. And besides, I like to keep Heel with me. He's the calming force, Sometimes I
It's
can...
the good cop.
That's funny.
Speaking of your ship, what kind of ship is this?
Oh, this is a standard issue sloop, but it's been modified with some fine materials. And
I mean, are you a merchant ship? Or are you?
sometimes we are. Yes, we take all manner of things. We sometimes ship a cargo. We sometimes take individuals back and forth to whatever port of call they need.
A mercenary ship.
In a way, not quite as martial as all of that, but we do what's necessary. Heel! And you see clunk, clunk, clunk. Heavily, you can hear the creak of the gangplank as he makes his way over. Ah, good man. All right, now, which one is the captain? Anybody? Captain?
And I like to the captain over there.
Captain takes off her tri-corner hat and sort of gestures.
Buddy, I'm tired.
Are we having the meeting like on deck?
Yes.
Stick close to the half-orc.
So where are the lot of you? Are you guys still on the other ship, or have you
No.
come back to?
I followed the
Yeah, we'll come over. I'm going to stick right by the half-orc.
Okay,
I've stealthily followed behind.
very good.
I'm just
Actually, give me a stealth check then.
real.
What kind
he
of
just-
armor are you wearing?
I am
have a
real fucking
plus-
suspicious.
Leather armor looks like
6 plus 2, so 8.
8. Okay, so difficult to do with so many eyes, scanning the area, but
I'll probably place myself like by the wheel.
not so much out of your. You may be obscured, not so much out of your own efforts, but because there's so much for people to keep track of. Maybe you get lost in the shuffle.
If it's like elevated.
We're back in Schult now, so I'm just like right by the gangplank, staring, like watching the other crew because I do not trust this at all.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. To have some of us by the gangplank and some of us by the captain and the orc, half-orc.
We've got a longbow if any of them try any shenanigans.
So
Although that gangplank's only probably like
the
10
two
feet.
the two captains you see meet in the center. Sure enough, behind Captain Ordame is Grig, and behind this new captain of this vessel is Heel, as you said. This is his first mate. Sure enough, they clasp hands. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Captain Flashhod. Now,
Flash hard.
Hod.
Hot.
H-O-D.
Flash hard.
Now, when was the last time that you went to Port Nyanzaru? It was a few weeks ago. Why? Well, there's been some difficulties in the city. There was a recent surge of... he sort of leans over slightly. The undead around the city borders. And you can see that Captain Ordame is sort of still suspicious, but is sort of nodding along slightly. And, well, making a dockfall may be somewhat difficult. Can we talk privately? I don't want to spook the rest of your crew. Captain Ordame looks around, looks at Greg. Very well.
I'll shake my head no, because I'm behind the half-orc, so I'm not saying it out loud. But I'll shake my head.
Sort
No.
of, she sees your face.
Signal.
She speaks Gnomish, right? is that her? She's a gnome?
She is a no.
She's a rock gnome, and she does, I believe, speak Gnomish. I mean, it
Does she have
makes sense.
thieves'
Right?
cant?
Let me double check.
Thieves can't.
Yeah, she speaks Gnomish.
I speak Gnomish, so I can say to her, don't trust them.
She sort of gives you a quick look and utters in Gnomish the Gnomish equivalent of no shit. You can see that the other Captain Flashhod, is like that kind of oblivious look when someone is discussing in another language, and you're just like, oh well.
And you have no idea.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah. Yay.
I'm a part of this conversation too, guys.
Tell you what, Captain Flashhod, was it? Yes. If you will, I'd rather have our meeting up here on the deck, if you don't mind. And if we could have it surrounded by my crew, I would feel much more comfortable. You understand? It's just a little insecure. It's not you, it's me. Flashhod kind of. There's a kind of a brief kind of frown, but. Fair enough. All right then. So where shall we set up?
Shall I get a table?
Oh yes, that's a good man you've got on board. Yes, if you'll get us a table, please. So you're gonna head down to the lower deck, grab one.
Very much.
She's gonna carry a
You
table
bring that
larger
up.
than you.
Bring the table up. Place it down.
Hey, I got 10 in athletics.
All right.
You can see that. Captain Flashlight actually takes one of the barrels and sort of adjusts it off to the side of the table and sort of gestures for Captain Ordame to sit.
Because I'd only get one chair.
After you.
If we had a chair.
There are no chairs aboard. Yeah.
Only one for the captain.
After you. And Captain Ordame sort of takes her place, and as soon as she sits down on the barrel, you see Captain Flashhawk grab her around the neck in a kind of an arm lock thing.
So we fight.
And whip out a dagger from the inside of his coat. And you can see he's got her in essentially sort of a chokehold.
Can I knock the gangplank down?
Before you do,
Okay.
in that instant, he's got knife to throat, and you hear him say, "Stand and deliver!" And then, okay. So now we're going to roll initiative, please.
Okay.
So what that means is you're going to roll a d20, Kyle, and you're going to add your initiative bonus, which should be next to your speed.
Oh, has there been any days in between this, or has there been
Short
like
rest?
a short rest or a long
There's
rest?
been a long rest is 8 hours.
Yes.
Yep, short rest is
We would have
one.
had a short rest on the trip.
No, there's been a long rest. It's a new day.
Speed on the table.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Long rest.
long rest means new Porton.
There we go.
More
Okay.
spell slots.
And Porton gets rolled again. It's every long rest.
Hey.
So, our winners are a 9 and a 2. These are
Still-
going for
still
the
decisive,
enemy.
Yeah.
Yep.
All you want is
Okay, so
one way or the other. 10 would be the worst.
Now I have to really
so
decide.
Emmanuel,
17.
17. Lyonel,
7.
7.
Do I want my signature weapon to be
Ruby,
my sword
9.
or
9.
the bow?
17.
Wooks, 17.
Nice.
And then we've got Piere,
23.
All right.
23. Very good. And Takta,
15.
not bad.
I'll take it.
Bad at all.
It's nice to have, a spread.
Really want to knock this gangplank down. Trying to get over here.
Yep.
Be very satisfying.
Or while they're walking.
Given my initiative number, probably.
I remember that time with
Fucking.
the mole rats where we all lost initiative and just got slaughtered.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Look, why do you think I play a ranger when I get a fucking advantage on initiative? Because of shit like that. But even then, sometimes, you still get...
Sometimes bad rolls
Give me
happen.
just a minute to set up here.
And that one's a little bit harder to eat than the original is.
Yeah, it's metal.
They're nice. They roll well.
Yeah, no, Kyle also has the clinky dice.
See the new ones Wizards released?
Oh, the
You need like
sapphire
a-
ones? Or
Yeah, you
something?
need to take out a loan to get them. But they're
Jesus.
beautiful.
Oh, I think I remember.
Are you going to get engagement dice instead of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
ring at this rate? Like,
Yeah, I
You'll
think they're-
still
I think
lose
they
them
are
just
like-
as easily.
You'll
$300
lose them
bucks.
just as easily, but you might be more used in that sense.
Depends on how you define used, but
Okay,
More
so
appreciated in a day-to-day sense.
so Piere, you're actually going to get to go first.
All right. Okay. So I'm next to the half orc, right?
You got.
here, right behind
Yes.
them here.
Well, let's go ahead and place ourselves on board the. Well, you guys are back aboard the Brazen Pegasus now, so. Here we are
Bring,
on the top of the ship. Here we are.
you need to bring a
So where's the
couple-
gangplank?
So
at?
they've come from the side here. So let's have the gangplank
Oh, nice.
over there.
So where's the wheel? Because I didn't specify that it was by the wheel.
Top deck. Quarter deck, technically.
Yeah, that's
As
what
we
we
learned.
up here. Yeah.
Where do you want to be?
Wherever I'm next to the half orc.
So between Emanuel and Wooks, what are your dexterity bonuses?
-1.
Go.
+2.
+2. Very good.
So
Good.
you get to go first.
So you would go before her.
He's such a big baby.
Oh my gosh,
He is. He's just...
that's amazing.
The staring at your face, love me look.
all the time. He never turns it off.
Hmm.
He just always looks like that.
I don't know. He does also have the resting stoner face.
That's
He
true.
does have resting stoner face. You're
He's
right.
getting that right now.
As the butt rubs convince.
It's got the butt and the chest. 2 prime locations.
So you can see we're very high tech with our post-it notes. Is that what Stephen 3D printed for you?
The red one is, yes.
Cool.
Is that the orc?
So the gray
That's the orc.
Yeah, that's heel.
So that's the one you're next to.
The orc.
The red is healed.
The orc's the
The red is heel.
That's the orc.
That's the orc.
Oh, okay.
So are you on
So
behind
you're
him? or-
behind him?
I just said next to him. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't-
I think I was near you, I believe, like just kind of off to the.
So
Yeah,
here's
because Captain Ordemay's right there.
two
I guess
of
I
them.
would have been behind him because I was shaking my head.
Yeah.
We were like,
Squares. Don't do it. It's kind of hard to tell the squares because of the
yeah.
That's
the
okay.
deck.
the way that it looks. But
This is where we use 5 feet for an inch or so.
That's a lot of work.
A little TOS style.
okay. So here you are. We've got Captain Flashhod with Captain Ordame in a kind of a grip. We have. Oh, let me make sure that I put.
Sure, it's got an ability. One
Grig.
is to drop an item.
Got Grig off to the side.
You drop a hostage.
Then we have so who's what? Just to make sure that I know.
I'm the
That's Lyonel, of course. That's Emanuel, right?
Kyle's the purple.
The small purple.
That's
And I'm
you.
right in front of him.
Here,
You're here.
yeah. Tom's. That's me.
That's you.
Yep, that's Ruby.
And then the
And then-
black and red is Talk Day.
Talk days. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good.
I'm always blue and purple.
Wait, Lionel's
All right.
the D12. Lionel's the biggest one.
No, Lionel's a minute.
That doesn't make sense.
No,
Oh,
this
Lionel's
is
the-
Grig.
Oh, okay.
Lionel's over
I
here.
thought Lionel was.
Lionel is waving from the
Hello.
from the helm. Okay,
Fight good, everybody.
so Piere, what did you want to do with your?
Well, that's a really good question.
As always, I can use like a.
so this thing is just popped off. Speaking of which,
Change to battle music.
Yes. And every time
Got
you
like
had
Pirates
mentioned
of
the
the Caribbean.
ship's like moving around, it's just immediate Pirates of the Caribbean music in my head.
Yeah.
Just, oh, is the ship moving? There you go.
Sounds like a dance party.
this
Sounds like something we might hear in the jungles of
it
Chult.
says fast chase groove. Is the name of it.
Fast
It's a
chase.
groove.
All right.
Use that tiki music.
It does kind of
Jason
sound like.
fucking hated that tiki.
Spooky loud.
It made no fucking sense.
Nope. It made John happy. That's what it did. Just like the curtain call music made John happy.
It does kind of sound like 2 chariots. Kind of like.
Oh man, like drums in the jungle was what I'm feeling. Okay.
It's a good jungle theme.
Yeah.
For like chase music. Or in like a bazaar and you're just like running into people.
So, all right, I'm drawing my 2 rapiers, and
It's very chill.
I'm going to attack the guy who has the captain.
You said you were going to attack the guy who's got the cap.
Yep.
So this Captain Flashhod who's got Ordame in a chokehold.
Yeah,
What's the worst that can happen?
He stabs the captain and
Yeah.
she dies.
Yeah.
You know,
The worst.
no big.
Yeah.
We can reserve.
No.
Not so much.
Okay. So here's what I'll do.
Oh, now I'm still getting.
I will draw both my rapiers,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
move up,
On my brand new shirt.
put them right on him, and just say, there is a death curse. And if anybody takes a hostile action, then stab him.
Stab.
Okay.
It's a prepared action.
Just holding my action. Until
Okay. Yeah. Sure. All right.
Okay.
Next we have our friend Heel. Heel very quickly. He leaps forward, holds out a spear, and is essentially Mexican standoff, if you will. You've got a spear out. And without a word, it's just sort of like pointed that at you as a kind of a quick reaction.
You boys gonna drop trow next?
You can hear him. He starts to snarl at you, and you can see some sort of,
Until you get your
spittle
AC.
and so on.
They're just
Got a little
distracted.
something, right?
Yeah.
Is it just
Wooks, you're actually up.
Going to invoke duplicity.
Sure,
that's
makes
fun.
makes
How
sense.
duplicitous of you.
So I need to put another thing on the board.
Yep, your
So-
Shadow Club.
Ooh,
Whoa.
that'll be the
Going
fancy one.
ninja here.
And I'm going to move that around to the other side of the attacking captain. Whatever his name is.
10, 15.
Move up to
Flash
30
pod.
feet. So.
This
Next
gentleman
to
right there.
Flash Rod.
Yeah, so right now, Flashshot is being represented by Pirate 1. He doesn't look that. He's not that big and burly.
No, he looks very.
He's got a rakish kind of quality to him. Okay. So that's all you want? You want to move your double, sort of?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless I can attack with it. I don't know.
I don't actually know how Invoke Duplicity
You can cast
If
through.
you're- yeah.
You can cast through it. Okay. So since you've already invoked Duplicity, which is a channel divinity thing, right? Then that would be your action, so you're good. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. So Emanuel, sorry, you're next.
I cast Sanctuary on our captain.
Hey,
Sounds
that's a
good.
great move.
Okay.
Yes.
And then
Very good.
I take out my sword and say, nobody needs to die here today.
Francis.
Just stand down.
So, Captain Flashshot, seeing swords to his back, spear to that guy, and then sword out, and it's all manner of what is essentially I'll call it a Caribbean standoff. Yeah,
We're invoking parlay right now.
this is an extreme version of parlay.
Parlay, we have to.
So a lot of you are. So the weapons out at the ready, everything's tense, and you can see Captain Flashshot still got the knife to throw. Well, it seems we're at a bit of an impasse, aren't we? That's a troublesome thing. Now, look, let me explain my demands first, just to make things clear. I want your ship, I want all your valuables, and I want to get the hell out of here. You can either comply with that, or my boys can blow us out of the water. Your choice. And you begin to hear a kind of a hissing noise as you see that the sailors on board the opposing ship have surreptitiously began sort of prepping cannons during this whole kerfuffle.
Francis, no. He really
Takta
wants
is
to
actually next.
die.
Probably check.
How far away are the cannon preppers on the other ship?
They are within, let's see, so here's, if you were here,
Are they
5,
within
10,
90
15.
feet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
The gangplank is like 120 feet. No, you're within,
Just
like
like
the
those-
ships are within 20 feet of each other. Like
Ooh,
the,
nice.
the gangplank is not, I mean, it is very much like a slap this piece of wood over the top so we can all get over kind of thing.
Okay. We're firing off sleep first, and we're going to try to put
Nice.
a group of them asleep.
The cannoneers?
Yep.
over there? Okay, very good.
Pick a point, and then anybody within 20 feet of that point is affected. And it's what? D6 rolls? D8s? D8s.
Okay.
How many D8s?
I think it's like
I think it's 5 by default?
Yeah.
5 D8 to start with.
I didn't bring in a lot of dates.
Ooh, nice. That's a 8, 7, 6, and then 2 more. 8 and 4.
Wow.
Damn.
133.
Okay.
Or 32.
32 hit points worth of
32.
creature fall asleep.
Okay.
Starting with the least hit pointy.
All right. So you cast sleep on the cannoneers very quickly, and you can see that all but one of them
Nice.
remains up,
Oh.
fully awake and conscious.
Okay.
You see one get a little woozy, fall, and strike his head against the side of the cannon, playing with his large clanging
Well,
nose.
now I
These
guess
guys
we've
are
got
tough.
Yeah.
Well, it's not 32. It takes it off.
Right, it's not like each person under 32.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
32 hit points worth of creature.
Yes.
So if a creature has 30 hit points,
That's all you're getting.
That's all
that's
you
all you
get.
get.
Yep.
Yeah. There'd be 2 left over to go to somebody else, but it wouldn't be enough.
It just kind of yawns.
So one of them does fall, cracks his head against the cannon. Probably out, given the heady sort of clang that you heard. Probably out for a couple of hours.
There's that
The rest of them,
wince.
there's some slight, like, amongst them, there's sort of, like, eyes darting back and forth, a little bit of tension, but otherwise they're still ready to go.
How many are left then?
4.
4 are left.
4 pirates are left. Next we have Ruby. You're actually up.
We're just slowly passing the buck to who starts the fight.
Yes. Pretty much.
Okay, I guess it'll be me then.
It's all on you.
If I kick the gangplank, they can't get over here, but we also can't get over to them. And that's
fine.
for prior. Is it fine?
I think it's fine. We've got range, yeah.
I mean, I've got range.
If they blow a ship up, we can't get this.
But I mean, we also have cannons. It's kind of equal.
They're not going to fire cannons over that.
Well,
I mean,
They don't seem like the smartest lot.
I mean, that's what you do.
I mean, that
Broadside-
is literally what they threatened us
Yeah,
with.
he straight up said they would
That
just take.
well,
Well,
yes,
yeah.
but as Tom rightly points out, it's a dumb move.
So
you
would,
could do it.
would kicking the gangplank be my whole action? Or would it count as like a move? Or?
It would be your whole action because it's a thick, sturdy piece of wood. So
Alright.
you're talking about it several feet. It's heavy enough to support several people's weight. So you'd really have to knock this thing out.
So Robert's turn.
Yep.
We literally just passed the donut on the table.
I mean, yeah, I think that seems good. I
Alright, let's do it.
don't know how we want to actually start engaging people on this side.
Alright, I'm going to drop the gangplank in the water. Shove, let it fall.
You're going to shove. So give me an athletics check.
Yeah. I kind of like advantage, please. I don't remember when
Sure,
I rolled
why
today.
not? It just gives me more
I know,
fuel.
right?
That's fine.
13.
13.
Yep.
Okay, so you shove this thing. It is made of some pretty hearty
you
wood,
serious?
some pretty thick wood.
Yeah.
A 13 is not a big.
Oh.
A 13 is not a big result on an athletics check. That's
It's just barely
It's
above
above
that.
10.
that's barely above average, right? Yeah. So you shove this thing. You see that the gangplank sort of spins off slightly, but doesn't make it off of the side of either ship. It's now at this sort of weird catty corner angle.
So if any ship kind of moves.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you think?
Cuss.
Sure. Yeah. That's a free action.
That's a free action. What? Although it should give you inspiration.
Lyonel, you're up.
I think I am going to start this.
Somebody's got
You're the
to.
guy.
Yep.
It's cool.
It's the rogue.
Shank somebody in the knee.
It's just not everybody wants to be licked, sir. Respect Robert's boundaries.
I'm assuming the captain has his back to me.
Currently, yes.
You're saying that to the person who's playing Emanuel.
Yeah, currently the captain's attention is drawn on
Yeah.
Ordame, who's got in chokehold, and looking at Emanuel
It's
and
pretty much,
and,
I can
Piere.
barely hit Orme if I shoot at the captain.
There's a possibility that if you miss, you'll strike the captain as well.
Well,
Your captain.
Don't fluff it up.
because I can't see the captain,
You don't
right?
see him.
Because
You can see part of Ordame
Just
because
part
it's a
of
small. I mean, she's a rock gnome, so he's got kind of like hunched over slightly, and she's not necessarily
No,
in
just
front of him,
slightly.
just off slightly to the
Pepper
side.
and
So you can see sort of like the left-hand portion of her body.
Cool.
Right?
cool. I will attempt an attack on the captain. We'll see which one it is.
That sweet sneak attack.
Oh, okay, there we go. 24.
24 against our captain friend. That hits. Very good.
Can it make a save? A
Can
dex?
he make a save?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So after the attack, that's when I'll...
That's when you own. Okay. So let's
That's
resolve
first
yours
sign of
first. So what do you need to do?
Dex save?
Dex save. That is a 24.
24, dang
wow.
it.
Quick on his feet.
So nothing happens.
All right.
Well,
Aside from the damage.
yeah.
Okay, I was about to say nothing.
damn,
Now. Oh, well.
Aside from the shit ton of damage I'm about to lay on him.
Yes.
One brick
That's 8, 12, 15 points of piercing damage.
15 points of piercing damage. Very good.
It's a good open.
I have an ability to do an array of things if they fail their dex save as a bonus action.
Okay, so you see. So what are you throwing?
A short bow.
Short bow, yeah. You let loose an arrow, flies through, strikes him in the back. You can see sort of bottom, sort of right-hand side of his back. Ah! And you can see that he's still got hold of Captain Ordomay. But as he sort of whirls around, you can see, because he's now turning with Ordomay, looking to where the arrow shot from. So he's spinning around, sees you, and then you can see him spin the knife around to the handle side, right? Bash Ordomay.
He has to make a wisdom save.
He will. He tries to bash Ordomay in sort of the temple area, right?
Can he do it?
See, either I was going to make him
Advantage.
drop the knife or drop
So will
Ordomay.
his held action go before mine? Because I was higher in the initiative order.
Oh, boy.
Unclear.
No, you're right. Yeah. So you would get your attack in. So let's go ahead and
So
and
has
do
he
that.
technically acted yet this turn?
No.
So I get advantage on it.
Yes.
I guess he technically acted in holding.
So 14.
No, wait, hold on. We're still in the first initiative swap, so he's acted already. Yes,
Okay,
that was
yeah.
when he told
He
the crew to
held,
fight.
Then I don't know which I
You get to
roll
re-roll.
first. All right.
Just go ahead and roll yours.
So 18.
18's a hit. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Nice.
11 piercing.
11 piercing damage.
And
Very good.
second attack. Probably misses. That's 11.
11 misses. So just the 11 piercing.
Yeah.
Okay. So he feels rapier go into his back at the same time. Ah! He tries to bash Ordomay in the temple. Does that wisdom save?
Can he?
He rolled a 19.
Yes.
Okay. Bashes Ordomay in the side of the temple. You can see her sort of go blank, and it looks like she's been knocked unconscious. She drops, and you can hear him shout, "Heal!" And you can see Heal, like the gladiator. He goes to sort of full height and gets out his weapons. And now things are ruffler.
Now it's on.
Okay. So then we have, let's see here. So, Lyonel, you just went.
Yep.
All right.
I think I was at the
So
bottom.
now we have, let's see. You can see that very quickly, two of the pirates from the other ship draw their weapons and race over the gangplank onto your ship,
Oh boy.
leaving two more that are still awake, mind you. Yeah, two more still mounting, still operating the cannons. So they rush on. They hit here and here, and those two pirates slash at who's this?
Okay.
This pirate slashes at you
Poor Tucker.
Healthy side.
with advantage, by the way.
Yep. Seems fair.
No.
Seems like you've been held too much.
Seriously, no.
16.
Yep.
Okay. And so he slices at you with what looks like a hook.
Ooh.
Hook in his hand. And so he deals...
Is it like tethered to something?
It's just like a free-floating hook. That is 10 piercing damage.
Jesus.
And you're grappled because the
Spicy.
hook has gotten into you and sort of pulled in. Okay? And then this pirate
Skewer.
here, who is our number one?
That's me.
Okay, slashes at you. This time with advantage. I'm giving you plenty of fortune. And that's with an 18 damage.
That is.
And you, similarly, light hammer this time, comes out, strikes you for 7 bludgeoning damage. as you feel a light hammer caress your spine.
As it does.
As it does. Okay, then we have Piere. You're back up.
All right. Bonus action, I'll give the captain my hunter's mark. 12.
You can always reroll.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'll reroll.
Fortune.
Okay, flip.
Hey, that's not much better. 14.
14 to hit. The captain, you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Miss. Okay. Unfortunate.
Information.
Ah.
He's looking for a lab.
I don't have much
He's
space.
been denied mine.
So, heal, our orc gladiator. Our orc
Well,
gladiator
yeah, no.
friend.
I just touched it. I didn't step on it.
He rushes forward with his weapon still drawn,
You just got
grabs the captain, Captain Flashhawk, and you can see him with a sort of a heavy heat strength, essentially hurl him behind him in this towards the direction of the bow. And you can see that he gets tossed 5, 10, 15 feet back across the deck. He manages to he lands a little rough, but he's now over here, out of harm's way. He's just behind you, Wooks.
And Ordame is on the ground, unconscious.
Ordebase's on the ground, unconscious. So she's there in the middle, but it seems that Heel has grabbed Captain Flashhawk and flung him out of the sort of the melee here, and is now taking his place with spear and what looks like a sort of a crude makeshift shield. Out, he's sort of banging them together, ready to fight.
Is Flashhawk standing or?
He is like on one knee. He's sort of, like I said, he landed kind of rough. That's good. Okay, Wooks, you're actually up.
Throw off my calendar.
Let's see.
As it does.
Yes.
No, buddy, I can't let you up right now.
Hey, over here, Francis.
Steven, move things off of his lap for you.
And then you left.
Over here. Hand this to Steven. Have a puppy.
Your orders arrive.
And just stare at me and think that's what it's for.
All right, it's a live performance. Don't worry.
The other ship is just clapping.
So,
They were impressed by his sort of shot put, if you will. The captain.
They all give him 10s.
Well, 7 from the Russian side, always.
does Heel count as a humanoid? Or?
Heel is a half orc, so he is a humanoid. Yes.
Okay. So then I'm going to charm Heel.
Nice.
Okay.
Sounds great.
So charm requires a charisma save. Is there a wisdom save?
It's
Wisdom.
Wisdom save. Very good. He's going to make that wisdom save. So he's rolled an 11. What is your DC for your spellcast?
It's 13. Yeah.
It should be under, there's like a spellcasting section.
Wisdom is 16. That's definitely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
13? Alright, he fails. Because he didn't make the 13 or higher.
And
So-
it also, at my level, it also casts on someone within 30 feet of me as well. So,
Very cool.
I guess somebody else.
they're the closest. So they're
This pirate here is
Yes.
the closest to heal. So
sure.
okay, so he's going to make a save as well.
Get that bounce.
13, so he doesn't fall for it. But heal very quickly. You can see him, so he's bashing his shield and his spear together, and then he starts to slow down slightly. And then he turns, and you can see that he turns and looks at you. And you see him.
Well, he's looking at my duplicate.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
Okay,
nice, yes.
so he turns and looks at the duplicate, and he's like,
You're cool.
You and me, buddy.
We can take him on.
So the effects of charm essentially is that
Become their friend.
he is essentially this duplicate's friend, right? For the length of the spell, right? And can't attack that the charmer or target the charmer with harmful abilities or magical effects. Right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, Wooks. Emanuel, you're actually up.
I have no idea what just happened.
What do you mean?
The charm.
The charm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've got no idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just saw Heel turn and like give someone over there
There is
a kind of a like how you doing kind of look. Yes, exactly.
So I am going to attack Heel, and I'm going to do it with advantage.
Why? Oh, okay. Very good.
So that is a 24 to hit.
Yeah. Well, 24 to hit. That does hit.
Okay, and I am going to smite him as well.
Excellent.
The reason people play paladins to smite.
Okay.
Okay, I can re-roll.
Have you
these.
tried
Oh,
smiting?
nice. Have you tried smiting it?
You should smite it again.
So that is
You tried
9
smiting
slashing and 15 radiant.
9 slashing
Nice.
and 15 radiant. I'm going to get out the old calculator for this one.
It's
9
24
slashing
total.
and 15. Okay.
Let's be
All right.
No, it's not 9. It's 7 slashing.
Okay.
2 hit points.
Very good. So you, longsword in hand,
That's a great sword.
great sword in hand, excuse me, Cloud's Buster sword in hand, cleave the back of Heel. Doesn't go in twain, unfortunately, but there's a pretty nasty scar with a glowing sort of energy, and you can hear Heel roar in pain as he is hit by this radiant slash.
I feel real bad.
Let's see. Now we have, let's see, Emanuel. Ah, the captain. So Captain Flashshot gets up off of his knee, and you see him. He grips what looks like a sort of a cloak that's been attached underneath sort of the lapels of his sort of piratical collar, right? You see him grab this cloak and then whirl it about himself. And you can see very close by, within 5 feet actually, this spectral door appear. This
For
doorway.
fuck's sake.
Of course.
It wides open and he sort of flings himself through it. And you can see in the distance, he actually falls onto the deck of the opposite ship.
Okay.
Gotta have your escape plan.
Is the hole still open, or does it close immediately as he goes through? I assume it probably just
It's like
closes.
Dimension Door, so whatever Dimension Door.
Yeah, it probably
Yeah.
just closes.
I believe it
Closes after
closes.
use.
Yeah. Okay. So now our captain friend, Captain Flashshot, has returned to his ship. Okay. Talk to him.
It looks like there's a nice spot in the middle there.
Right here?
Yeah, I think I can meander over there.
You won't
without,
take an attack of opportunity from this gentleman, right?
as long as I stay close to it.
Are
kinda
you
like-
within-
Now that moving towards you could go here and be fine, but if you moved here,
Yeah, don't want
that's
to go
too
that far.
So here.
But trying to get closer to the middle here for the grovel, cower,
So,
and beg.
like right here?
To try to get
Hold on.
most
so
of the foes
5,
within 10 feet.
15, that would be fine. You're still within range. Okay.
Story-wise, I'm imagining Takte just kind of runs over the captain, kind of
Well,
shouting
right
like,
now
Captain,
it's just the
Captain!
Kevin Ortome. Right, yeah.
Ortome. And basically distracting the foes. Doing so, giving all allies advantage against enemies within 10 feet of me.
Very good.
Oh, you're doing your grovel.
Yep.
Right.
When you're a kobold, you gotta leverage kobold strength.
You gotta
Yeah.
use it. Yep.
Very good.
Easy to get people's attention.
So within 10 feet of you, which is right here,
Mhm.
you all have advantage to attack.
Enemies.
Enemies.
So yes, allies gain advantage on attacks against enemies within 10 feet of you that can see you.
But remember that.
Fantastic.
Yep. That's my turn.
Very good. So
Last for until your turn?
Until my next turn.
Ruby.
Alright, I pull out my short swords
Specifically
and
the end of it.
slice. And who?
Well, that means it
Has-
gives you-
Wait, was this tactic?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm right in between the two
So
pirates.
you're here. All right. Good.
Have either of the pirates on either side of me been hit?
No,
No? Okay.
they have
No.
hit people, but they have not.
They
been-
haven't taken.
They have not been wounded.
Okay.
No.
Alright, cool. I will attack the...
Number three?
Three or
with-
two?
The one with terrible posture. I think that's 3.
They all have terrible posture. They're pirates. These pirates went to finishing school.
That's 21.
22.
21's a hit?
Oh, excuse me. No, I don't have the +2. It's a 19.
Well, no, it does hit. It's just a fucking pirate.
Yeah, right? Aw, lame. So that's 4. And then I get my...
For what?
Four
slashing.
damage.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 1.
Plus
3.
dex?
Yeah,
That's 3. So 4.
Yep.
that's what I said.
Okay. Did you said, don't I get my something wrong?
I was wondering if I got a second attack. I'm trying to
If you
Got
have
bonus action.
you have an
Yeah, both
offhand
of them.
weapon, yeah.
bonus unarmed attack. So I can punch him.
You can, yeah. You wouldn't be able to add your strength or whatever, but you could. Are you just punching him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
Okay.
shift,
Claws.
so I'll just punch him. My claws aren't out. Shift. Where did it go?
You can do a point of damage if you hit.
Ooh!
It's gone forever.
Now it's gone again.
It's fine. No, that's only like an 8, so that probably whiffs.
8 is a big whiff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Strength is not my forte. Dex is.
So you, what did you use for your first strike?
Short sword.
So you slice the back of this pirate. He takes a little bit of a nick, and you try to throw a punch. He very
I'll
quickly
just
sort
shift. It's fine.
of blocks it out of the way. But in the process, you shift into your form. That's a bonus action. Right?
Yeah, it is, so I will go ahead and shift.
Isn't technically taking a second attack a bonus action as well?
That's why I said I'll shift next time as well.
Next time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. So that's Ruby. Line.
Attack the half orc.
So where are you? Here?
No, I'm
You're here.
I'm up.
So 5, 10. Oh, you're
With
from
the
there.
bow.
He's staying there.
Yep. Enjoy advantage.
Okay, very good. All right.
Oh.
A rough roll.
No.
So if I re-roll, I
You re-roll 1.
re-roll 1.
You have to keep the new result.
I'll re-roll.
You'll re-roll one of them, and you'll keep the new result.
There we go. A 23.
23 hits, absolutely.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, because I don't think a 13.
No.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't think it's metagaming to say that no, it probably would not have hit.
Not with the shield.
This half orc massive warrior has osteoporosis.
Can I get a
Explains
dex
the posture.
save?
A dex save from the gentleman? Yes.
Ooh, that looks spicy.
He is going to take
Only
advantage
13.
on
It's average.
that. Dex save. For
I got
our-
a 6
for our
anyway.
friend. That is an 8.
That's probably enough.
Can I have it drop its shield?
Yes.
Oh, that
Have
sounds
him?
great. Lower that AC a little bit.
As a Tomb Raider subclass, it is one of my special abilities to
Disarm folks.
have it drop an item, have it go prone, have it have
So
advantage.
you fire this. It strikes him in the sort of like the forearm or something, and it manages. He's like, oh, drops the shield, and it clatters to the deck. Very good.
Probably better than giving advantage or make it prone. That's where I got that.
Yeah, well, at least for this round. Yeah.
Do you like the subclass because it gives a lot of options to use with the bonus.
Flexibility.
I'm a Tomb Raider. Little guy.
Trolling me.
Of course.
I was seeing how making sure Zoe wasn't being a pain in the ass.
Oh, she almost certainly is.
Well, she was really tired this morning, so makes her more of a grumpy pain in the ass.
So,
No.
There's a sudden you see above you the sky begin to darken.
Oh boy.
Clouds begin to roll in.
That's a good sign, right? Okay. Just
But he's a storm cleric.
clear.
You hear what sounds like loud chanting coming from the opposite vessel. You see a robed figure come from below deck onto the top. And you see him as he is chanting and moving his hands about towards the sky. You can see that it looks as if a storm is coming. The darkness of the clouds and sort of the sense of like electricity in the air. You can feel it in the air. There's this heaviness. The water begins to sort of become so slightly choppy and unsteady. And you can see very quickly between the two ships this massive wall of water, 30 feet long, 10 feet high, 1 foot thick,
Oh, I see.
shoots out of the ocean, destroys the gangplank,
There you go.
and puts up a kind of a
That's a good
makeshift shield between their vessel and the Brazen Pegasus.
Hold those cannons.
Does the 30 feet basically cover like the whole ship, or
Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Hold on. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So roughly sort of the middle portions. You'd have to go sort of all the way around.
Hit aside.
well, I guess I'm on the one end. I might be on the one edge.
Might be able to shoot around there.
You're far enough that you could, at an angle,
Get that robed figure.
Am I close
Probably
enough?
not
Or would I have to move?
Yeah.
My action?
You'd have to move back slightly, but yeah. Okay. So this wall of water is conjured by this robed figure that you see on deck.
Could we maybe get 2 sticky notes to denote?
Oh, the wall of water? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see.
So we just need a start and finish, basically.
Yeah, so it starts, let's say, here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, ends here.
Thank you.
So there's your wall of water between them. But it's only a foot thick, so don't let this fool you. It's not 10 feet thick. That'd be ridiculous. Thick. T-H-I-C-C. Thick wall of water. Okay, so next we have our piratical friends. This
They don't need to move.
this gentleman
Okay, fine.
swings around, strikes you,
Yep.
or attempts to at any rate.
I'm sure he will.
Well, you never know. Natural 1. So he, with his hook, swings out. You're able to sort of duck, and he manages to lodge his hook into the side of the boat, the inner side of the boat. You can see him look at the hook, and then look at you, and then look at the hook.
Oh.
He'll try to jimmy
Yeah,
it
I'm gonna
out.
take
stuck
advantage
in
of
the
that
wood.
next turn. That's gonna be great.
God damn it, every time!
Just shift and fucking
What have I told you about using hooks?
claw the shit out of
This one turns around
Get like an
and
alligator.
continues to strike our friend Piere here. Piere, that's a 23 to hit you.
Yeah, he's not missed me yet.
All right. Yeah, this one's a lady, actually.
Well, she's not missed me yet.
Oof. That is 11 piercing damage.
Okay, this is not going well.
And you are grappled, because this lady has, instead of the light hammer, taken out a similar hook.
So you already
You are now grappled.
10 points.
I never said I took them, so
No, you were grappled as well, by the way, by the hook. But you moved. We need to remember that. When you're struck by the hook,
Yeah,
you're
shouldn't
grappled,
have
so you have to
been
make an escape check.
Yep.
But you're grappled right now. Okay. Hey, back to you, Piere, actually.
all right.
Near the top.
Well, I don't need to go anywhere, so I'm going to stab her.
I've got you right where I want you.
13.
And I
Up to
you.
me.
13 hits. Absolutely.
10 piercing.
10 piercing damage to our friend. This one here, number 2, right?
Yeah.
Can you change your hunter's mark?
And you've been rolling with advantage, yes?
Oh, I did not roll with
You
advantage.
should roll with advantage.
Just to see if you get a 20.
So, no.
All right.
And then the second attack is a 21.
That hits.
with 9 piercing damage.
9 piercing damage. Very good. So, with the rapiers, she takes like 2 pretty steady blows at her torso. Yeah, she is starting to bleed.
Well, me too, so good.
Trading game.
So our gladiator friend, so he turns, he doesn't have a shield, but he's still got his spear.
He's still charmed.
He's charmed.
So he's
You have to have a wisdom.
to attack you, though.
Yeah.
Oh, just me.
It's
Yeah,
just
I thought
you.
it was for everybody.
No.
Your double is safe from his wrath, but
Cool.
so he
Not even me. Just my fake me.
so he spins his
"Hey, you
spear
wanna join
around.
our side?"
He spins his spear around and turns to strike Emanuel, right? And in doing so, as he spins around, he takes a look at your double and goes, with a heavy wink,
Showing off.
and makes
Watch this.
3 spear attacks against Emanuel.
Jesus.
You
So-
got AC, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't know if it's
That
3
is a-
spears good.
Which one did I roll?
The other one. That one.
Yeah,
This
that
one.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. 25.
Yeah.
So that's 1.
Through any armor
Can you
class.
do the damage?
First?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Incrementally.
yeah,
Because I have damage resistance.
Okay.
Good point.
So at least do it one at a time.
5, 9 piercing damage.
So 6 for you. That's not terrible. Not great.
Then there's a second attack with the spear. That one is a 10. I don't imagine that hits. Now the third and final one is a 24.
Let's make that one a 9.
Oh, a 9 instead?
Nice.
Okay, that one misses.
9 on dice, so
Yep. So
whatever modifier.
I think that's. I need to double check it. It's either the result becomes that, or that's the.
I think it
Oh,
changes the natural.
Well, we need to make sure that, yeah. If it's 9 on dice, then that's still a 16.
Still misses.
Okay, well then never mind. It doesn't matter.
No need to research.
So one
Yeah.
so a decent hit with a spear, but the other 2 you're able to parry out of the way.
You replace the roll.
Yep.
Okay. Wooks.
Let's see. All right. So I'm going to attack as myself with a light crossbow on the heel.
Okay.
Attack his. I'm going to shoot for his arm that's holding the sword still.
Okay. Yeah. So since you're doing a called shot,
Roll at normal. He's already got advantage.
you do already have advantage because of Takta's like groveling and everything. If you're doing called shot, we would say it's disadvantage, so they cancel each other out. So just roll normal.
Alright, so
So you're gonna roll a d20 and then add your light crossbow attack
So
bonus.
18 plus 4.
22.
Yeah.
Great.
That definitely hits. Absolutely. Okay. So roll for damage, please.
4 piercing.
4 piercing damage. Or was it? Was it?
It was
four?
2 plus 2. So
Very good.
Okay.
4 piercing damage. Okay.
Charm might get a new save.
Say what?
The charm effect might get a new save
What was this?
for being attacked.
Well, it wasn't attacked by the duplicate. I think that's to be fair.
Is my duplicate also going to move?
With the bonus action.
But you do have a bonus action. You haven't spent it yet. So,
Alright.
he takes a crossbow bolt into the arm, and you can see his grip on the spear loosens slightly. You can see that he's having difficulty holding it. He's got both hands on it now that he's got a shield. But one of them is kind of loose.
And I want to use my mace on the pirate 3 there with my duplicate.
Okay,
You do that,
so
right?
duplicate's going to hit number 3. Okay, with a mace.
Woo! It's 11 plus 2, so 13.
13 to hit our pirate friend.
Get
That
advantage.
hits. Absolutely. And you do have advantage.
Okay.
Well, roll again just to see if you get a natural 20.
3.
Okay. just want to check.
You never know.
And then... 3 damage bludgeoning.
3 bludgeoning damage?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So the duplicate produces a duplicate mace. Basically bashes this pirate on the head as he's attempting to get his hook out of the side of the ship. Ah! You hear him explain.
Day I'm having.
On my birthday!
That's right. It's Craig's birthday.
There's a new distraction.
Damn you to hell for ruining Craig's birthday.
He only gets one a year.
Only one. All right, then Emanuel,
else
you're up
could
next.
too.
So I'm gonna attack heal. I get an advantage.
Yes.
Yes, because of the groveling.
Yep. Groveling continues until the end of my next turn.
That's 24.
24 to hit heal. That is definitely a hit. With his new AC, now that his shield is gone.
And
It
I'm
was
definitely going to smite him
26.
again.
Smite him. Very good.
Bring in the heat.
Ooh.
That's pretty nice.
12 slashing and 9 radiant.
So 21.
12 slashing, you said.
21.
And 9 radiant. Very good. Another pretty heavy blow. Again, you make essentially an X on his back as you slash the other way.
That's nice.
A spark of radiant energy. Again, you hear Heel sort of growl in pain and grit his teeth and tusks. He's looking right at you at this point now, however, and he's real pissed.
He knows.
Let's see. So that was you, Emanuel. Is there anything else you wanted to do? Or was that it?
Still have a bonus action, so I'm going to channel divinity and get one of my
Spell slots back? Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Get that.
Is smiting
Get
not a
that
bonus
smite
action?
ready.
No, it's part of the attack.
Yep. Which is why it's so powerful.
Oh, that's right. It's named smites that have bonus action,
Yeah, those are the
He's
spells.
not giving you anything. He doesn't even like dogs.
I think.
I like dogs.
No one likes you.
From across the way, you hear on the other vessel the voice of Captain Flashhot. You hear him.
No.
Adjust the cannons up and fire at will!
Okay.
Good thing there's a wall in the way.
You're going through the wall.
It's a 1 inch thick wall, a
Yeah.
1 foot thick wall. So
Steps along.
you hear, light cannons being lit, and you can hear sort of the squeaking of wheels and the adjusting of metal as things are being angled and so on. But it's difficult to see for most of you because this wall of water is in the way. You can see, Lyonel, now that you're over here, you're over here, and you can see off the side, that they're essentially adjusting the cannons upward slightly to act almost like mortars, if you will. You know.
So they're at like.
They're still
80
planning
degrees?
they're still planning on shooting through the wall of water, but they've adjusted upward several degrees.
Does anyone know how this feels shit? Did you just
I don't have proficiency in navigation, watercraft, and I don't think. I think we're anchored, so.
Yeah, we are anchored.
Probably.
Okay. So next we have, let's see.
We also probably don't have this.
Talked it.
Like,
Okay, so your groveling thing goes away.
Yep. End of the turn, technically.
in the turn.
Oh well, right.
Yeah. Which we'll see.
You'll just
see
grovel
how
and
useful
stab.
that gets. Let's try to witch bolt heal.
Okay.
So advantage but disadvantage. So just a regular.
Just a regular roll.
Ooh, 19 on dice. I think it's a +4, so 23.
Definitely hits.
Francis, my man.
Easy, buddy. 9 lightning damage.
9 lightning damage to Mr. Heal. All right.
And he hides.
A quick bolt shoots out from your fingertips, arcs its way in between the other passengers on the deck, strikes Heel. You can see it strikes his hand, and his spear drops.
Okay. Nice. And we're going to just try to maintain that for the next couple turns.
Okay, very good.
It's my turn next, isn't it?
It is your turn, Ruby. Yes.
Before I take her one.
Did you drown? Did you drown there?
I did drown. I didn't have time.
Throw them overboard.
So I have Colossus Slayer, and Pirate 3 has been hit, right? Is below his max HP.
Pirate 3 is below his maximum HP.
Great! So I'm going to shift and get all nice and clawy and furry, and just attack the shit out of him.
Attack number 3, very good. That's all you had to say.
Ball number 3.
At this point, he has his hook stuck, and he's been bashed in the head by a duplicate.
And it's his birthday.
As we've already established. So.
So I
Poor
get,
Greg.
I get a bonus unarmed attack. when I perform a melee attack.
Okay.
So
you're going to slash with your claw.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
twice it sounds like.
So
Well,
you-
I guess I shifted, so that's my bonus action,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So just the one.
But you
One
will get
this
that
round.
bonus on
Hmm?
So
We'll get the bonus, yeah.
Because
Oh, I nat wanted. I want to reroll that, please.
Okay, yeah.
Not. That's better.
Worth it
Jesus.
for the nat one.
And when I'm shifted, I get to use Dex instead of Strength.
Ooh,
So that's
nice.
a roll 13, so it's a 16.
That definitely hits.
Great. So
Poor,
claws,
poor Craig.
4, and I get a bonus D8.
He's like, I knew I shouldn't have been shifted.
Yeah.
They
So
told me to
that's-
stay on the ship and celebrate.
So that's 9 slashing damage.
9 slashing damage to Craig.
It was the party bard.
They told me I was going to get a huge present.
So you basically you transform into your sort of cat-like form, your
Yeah.
full cat form, and you see that Craig, still with his hook in the side of the thing,
Right now.
sees you sort of transform before his eyes. Oh fuck! And you slash at him. He takes a heavy, almost like the cover of the Howling, straight across to his chest. He is actively bleeding, and he has a kind of an active despondency on his face. Like, this is what my day has been.
Worst birthday
It's not going
ever.
to get any better.
I'd just
Okay.
jump off if I were him.
Do you still get your extra unarmed attack, or does that take a bonus action?
It is a.
I think it's a bonus.
It just says bonus unarmed attack is what I wrote down.
Well, I think that but you shifted. So
Shifted, so that's my bonus.
if you stay shifted and attack again, you can do it. Okay,
Yeah,
got
I'll
it.
do the second one next turn.
Very good.
And next turn I get another
Lyonel.
extra D8 for Colossus.
Nice.
I will attack the orc.
I thought you were rushing there for a
Half
second.
orc.
Half orc. Thank you. It's a little more humanoid than your average.
Okay. We'll reroll that.
Okay.
Let's get real red over there,
And
guys.
real red.
Yeah.
I really just didn't want to nat one that last
Oh, I
one.
just rolled the same thing, so.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, good use of fortune.
13!
13 to hit. Heal.
Yep.
Miss.
Okay.
He has no shield.
He does have no shield, but it's still a miss.
Still misses.
Yep.
You might be barbarian like.
Barbarian orc.
Anything else on your turn?
Oh, I guess I still have. bonus action. Technically. I do not. I pass.
Okay. Pirate friends. So, Craig
Sounds like a jaunty
Craig
TV show.
manages to extricate his hook finally from the side of the boat.
Craig.
So he's got this
That's
out,
really pulling for him.
Good for him.
I am not.
and he sees the transformed, nature of Ruby, and you can see him like hesitate ever so slightly before he tries to attack you with the
Please
hook.
roll a 1.
He will, however, have
be Craig
advantage
if it's
because
not
things
on.
are finally
Oh, fuck
coming up.
this
It's, it's his
Craig.
birthday.
Yeah, he gets advantage on his
He
birthday.
gets advantage on his birthday. So,
Just like when you help us move, you got advantage on your rolls.
12
so
years
which
older than
you're there. So he's going to attack you.
It's a harsh world.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 32.
He did roll a 1, but with advantage, he has a 13 to hit you.
No. It's all still
So he goes wide.
I just smile and show all of my teeth that are very pointy.
Our lady pirate tries to strike you from the back, shouting, "It's Craig's birthday!"
How am I the bad guy somehow? They're pirates!
She will also take advantage because it's Craig's birthday.
Let
Okay,
Craig
I'll-
murder and steal from you.
Happy birthday to the ground.
I will, sing happy birthday as I murder him. I don't know.
So that is a 11 to hit you. Another swing and a
I
miss.
think that's happy birthday to the ground.
Yeah.
Birthday to the ground.
All right. Piere, you're back up.
All right.
Mom's not a phone.
Meanwhile, the wall of water is still churning and being sort of maintained. You can still hear some adjustments going on and some faint hissing from cords and gunpowder and everything being...
So against the lady pirate.
Lady Pirate?
That's a miss. Second attack. 22.
That's a hit.
Just 6 piercing.
Oh, right, you've got
6 piercing damage. Very good. All right, so the lady pirate takes a pretty heavy blow. She looks like she's on death's door now. She's very close. She is bleeding heavily. Then we have our gladiator friend.
I'm so glad he gets to take 3 attacks.
Gladiator friend turns. Now that he's dropped his spear, his spear, so he essentially like steals himself, gets his arms open wide. He does a big war cry at you, and then rushes forward and tries to tackle you.
And you say, "Oh, baby!"
So I need you to
Bring it on.
I need you to make a athletics
Can't
check.
grapple the willing.
He will make an athletics check, and we'll see what happens. He's going to do so with advantage.
Can I do so at advantage as well?
Yeah. We'll just forget it.
Back to the dice.
It's not bad. 16.
27.
Oh, Jesus! Did he not 20?
Wow.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
He rolled a 17.
A plus 10.
To athletics.
Wow.
So I'm guessing he probably has expertise or something.
So,
like that.
so he rushes
Yeah, it's
towards
like
you
a
like
plus-
a linebacker,
Like a toy strength or
essentially
something.
rams into you, and both of you are down now on the deck of the ship. He's on top of you, and he's ready to like just strike at you with his bare hands. So he's got you pinned down under his massive frame.
Bare hands. I think
work
they're
His half-orc hands. Fuck you.
He's half
Wooks.
bear, half orc, alright.
Okay, half bugbear. That makes sense.
Is there even a potential way to even make it to the other ship?
I mean, there are potential ways, but with that,
Can you?
what you
fly?
essentially have to do is go around the wall of water, and maybe there's still 20 feet between the ships. You'd have to, yeah, I mean, fly.
Pretty athletic.
Maybe somebody, maybe Heel can throw you over to the other, other ship.
He loves my duplicate. He
Yeah, if
can
you ask him
really.
nicely. Yeah.
Come aboard our ship. We'll hire you.
Just go up and say, hey, I'll bet you can't throw me on that other ship.
Oh yeah.
Oh! Let's see.
Toss me.
Let's see. I'm just gonna use my crossbow on the female pirate and try to.
Number
take her
2.
out
Very
here.
good.
Hey, I like that you're chewing on your bone, but it's really close to that cord.
That's
so
a
let's just move it.
6.
Do you want to reroll?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of us have been, so I can go for it.
And that is a 16.
That's a hit. Very good. So roll for damage on your crossbow.
It's 1 damage plus 2 piercings.
So 3 damage. All right. So, bolt goes flying, strikes this lady pirate in the neck, and you see her fall overboard,
Yes.
Woohoo!
one down,
One down.
staying the sea with blood.
7 to go.
Okay, very good.
See, we spared you, Greg.
for now.
Emanuel.
I'm gonna
So,
charm him and have him
Heel
fall
is on
over.
top of you, like
I love this.
wrestling with you, essentially, trying to pin
I
you
will put him
down.
to sleep.
So, seems like the only option I have is to, like, deck him.
Okay,
And,
you could grab his crotch too if you want.
Oh, that's
Consent-
like
That's later.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying
Consent
that's
is
something.
important for
suggesting that.
Emmanuel.
Yes. I'm just saying that's something you could do.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
so, mechanically, how does this work? Because
Your grappled is understood. Just grappled, yes.
Just
So your
grappled.
movement
Status
is
effect.
0. That is all. You can technically still
but we're
use
both on the
weapons.
ground.
Yes.
So,
So prone on top of that.
So I'd say like if he had like a
So
short
disadvantage to attack, but advantage because the target is prone, mechanically speaking.
okay.
Yep.
So, let's go with it.
That sounds like a regular roll to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
sword, probably not something with like a great sword. Maybe.
Yeah, in terms of like how you want to flavor it,
So,
I'd lean into that. Punch and smite.
Sounds like an action movie now.
Yeah, it sounds almost like Star Wars.
I'm
gonna
gonna go with
reroll
like James
like Clone
Bond.
Wars.
This is from the Lost World, actually, ironically enough.
I
Wow.
want to reroll that.
Reroll. Okay. Very good. Lots of red all of a sudden.
Okay, that's much better. 21.
21 definitely hits. Okay, so you're just doing bare fists, right?
And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna bitch slap the fear of my god into you.
Okay.
I like punch him in the jaw and just smite him.
You're smiting with a fist.
this
Very
slide
good.
through.
Very good. Okay, so he takes the 1 damage from the.
It's 4 because it's plus strength.
Oh yeah, so he takes 4 damage from the bludgeoning damage from the punch. Very good.
And then the holy
Then we
wrath.
got the smite.
Ooh,
You just need to actually
that's
like
an 8.
That
use
is 15 radiant damage.
Damn.
use like a glove as the improvised weapon.
Yeah.
You know, just
Pop.
So you rear back, your fist begins to glow. You deck him John Wayne style in the jaw, and you can see heel actually like spirals off of you and strikes the mast over here. So you have now cleared yourself. You're still prone on the deck, but you're free of heel's presence.
Alright,
Stand up.
stand up.
After you move it, stand up. Very good.
Is it item interact to pick up my sword, or is that an action?
That's an interaction, so yeah, you just pick up
It's
your...
on the floor.
Very
So
good.
I pick up my sword, I look straight at Craig and go, yeah.
Craig is too busy, like, just sort of taking into account just the fullness of werecat person attacking him. Okay.
whose turn it would be.
You can hear off in the distance, the captain yells, "Fire! Fire! Fire!" And you hear 2 cannons, 2 cannonballs shoot through the wall of water, splash through, and begin coming just right across essentially the top deck. So what I need everyone to do, let's see, everyone in this line here, which includes Craig.
Oh, Craig!
No! If his own people kill him, I'm just gonna off myself.
So there's your duplicate. Does your duplicate have hit points or anything like that? Is that a...
I think it said if it takes damage, then it just
goes away?
disappears, yeah.
Okay. Well, I need you to make a dexterity save for your duplicate. How about that? And then our friend Greg is going to make a... Craig, excuse me, is going to make a dexterity save
Greg's
as
the first
well.
mate who hasn't done shit this entire battle.
21 for my dexterity.
21. Very good. So this thing, this cannonball thrusts itself through the wall of water. Craig is aware enough to sort of like he hears that splash and he's like, "Oh!" and he jumps down to the deck, prones himself. The cannonball goes over it, manages. Your duplicate follows through, does the same, crouches down. The cannonball goes through, strikes Greg directly in the chest, and sends him sailing off of the boat and into the water.
Well, shit.
It's nice knowing you.
Then
Maybe he's a Mogwai and he'll just...
then very quickly afterwards, a second cannonball shoots through this line here. So we're going to need Piere and Emanuel to make dexterity saves.
Oh, sorry, Emanuel.
I cannot help.
18.
Ooh, 18.
Nice.
18. Very good. Yeah. So this cannonball shoots by. The both of you manage to move off, and it sails right between you and splashes in the water off to the side.
Thank
Okay. Now we have Cocktail is back up.
Just gonna spend the action continuing the unlimited power
Force lightning.
bolt. Unlimited power. And give him an extra
Suddenly Samuel L. Jackson
9
flies
lightning
off the
damage.
side of the boat. For no reason.
Do it.
So are you doing lightning damage to
20 to heal.
him?
Yep.
Nice. He deserves it.
Okay, so heal, his back still against the mast, his body's racked with more electricity. Very good. Next we have Ruby. You're back up.
So Craig is prone.
Craig is indeed prone. Just
Happy
avert your
birthday,
eyes, children.
Craig.
Avert your eyes.
So does that mean I get advantage?
I mean, yeah, he's prone, so you have advantage just to melee attack him. Yeah.
All right.
For the 1-2.
Yeah, it is
Yep.
for the 1-2, and one of them gets an extra D8 because
You know that
Lots of
you know that
sweat.
shot in horror movies where it goes very close to the victim's face and it's like, no,
14.
no, and it cuts at the very end. That's what's happening to Craig right now.
So the first one's a 19,
His last words, it's my
19 definitely hits.
and the second one is a 20.
And
not
my
natural.
death day.
That definitely hits. So both attacks hit.
Okay.
How much damage are you doing?
So there's a D8 and 2 D4s. Hold on.
It makes it
Right.
very easy to determine how long he was.
Spry 12-year-old boy.
You lived a full life.
13, but I have to add.
He looks 34 though.
Yeah.
Life is hard.
He's got a beard.
yeah.
It's 2 separate attacks, so I add those twice. 19.
19. 19
Total-
damage?
Total for both attacks.
Damn.
All right. So you claws out, tear into Craig, and Craig, of course, in full adventure fashion, lets loose a Wilhelm scream as he is torn to ribbons.
It's not even like falling off.
Craig is no more.
He's just like falling through. He just like
He's
clips
a
through.
pirate! That's what I'm supposed to do!
He's our friend.
No, he's not!
Well, he's named now. He was.
Correction, he was.
Oh, come on! He was trying to kill me!
Can't bring him back to
He
that.
also
So,
shanked me once.
We kind of
so
like
I'm
him
on
more.
board.
In a spray of viscera, Craig is no more.
Just like a Kurosawa film. Just
Yeah, exactly. Like the host. Lionel, you are up next.
Is there rope by me?
From the rigging? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my signature weapon, the bow,
They
I
use
can
the
use it
lawnmower?
as an adventure item, and I've
Not a big
selected a
lawnmower.
grapple hook. I like to
lawnmower ranch?
tie the rope as my item
Ironically,
interact and shoot to our man overboard.
Huh.
So that like,
Shoot towards grid.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds
Yeah.
like Evil Dead, but
So you
it's
hook up,
Yeah, those I'm familiar
fire. Just roll a basic attack for me for you with your.
with. Yeah, that does sound like Evil Dead.
A 7.
That's fine. Okay. So you
There's a scene
it goes
in that
roughly in
second
the direction. It's off by a few feet, but luckily it
There's a scene in
splashes
the
into the
second Evil
water.
Dead movie.
And Grig, who
there
it seems
is
like
such a
is now
ridiculous amount of
struggling to stay afloat.
You actually have time
Because he
to
got
laugh
hit
at the ridiculousness
basically in the
of it,
solar
and it
plexus
still goes on.
with a cannonball. He
Pretty hard
is
to breathe.
very
Best scenes I've
feebly
ever seen.
trying to swim over and grab the rope.
to excess. It's so good.
Okay. Next, you see the wall of water still churning, and the holes have essentially reformed themselves while still churning. You can see that the whole thing is beginning to, almost like a wave, curl and bend over the deck of the Brazen Pegasus.
Oh boy.
So you hear this chanting grow louder and louder, and this wall of water begins to very slowly sort of curl and begin to create a shadow over the deck. And then, just as suddenly, both of your ships, you hear one and feel on the Brazen Pegasus, rock, almost explosively off to the side. I need everybody to make dexterity checks. Dexterity saves, excuse me.
Hey.
Well, thank God I'm still rolling good on this.
Oh, actually,
So, 20?
22.
22?
Am I rolling for me
Christ.
and my duplicate?
Might as well, yeah.
Okay, my duplicate got a 2.
Thanks.
And I got a 17.
Very good.
I also got a 17.
19.
22.
Very good.
Man, we all
Team Deaths.
So,
Except the duplicate, he's fine.
with the exception of your duplicate, who is taken off, and Heel, who is chucked overboard by the heavy sort of rock of this boat. The rest of you, water splashing, you're able to grab onto the parts of the deck.
Tethered emotionally.
Just grab onto the ship itself with my
You can
claws.
see, digging your claws in. You can see the wall of water instantly drop, and now between the two vessels is the massive form of a dragon turtle.
Oh, what?
I will show you.
Dragon something we don't want to see.
No.
This is way beyond our abilities.
It's also its birthday. It's also
This figure.
It comes up, I'm here to avenge Craig.
Yeah, it's actually
You see that?
Craig's twin.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there's our dragon turtle friend,
Cool.
who has now surfaced
That's fine.
between the two ships
Okay.
and put essentially itself between the Brazen Pegasus and Captain Flashlight's ship.
Wow.
Is it blocking the same amount of space that the wall was, or is it?
It's bigger than that. Like it's
Right.
fully. It has put itself, and you can see that its head turns over to the Brazen Pegasus, and you can hear in a sort of a thick, sort of syrupy voice,
Stand and deliver.
Jesus.
That's what he's fucking summoned? Are you serious?
Dragon turtles can't talk. That's an illusion.
That's where we're stopping tonight.
All right.
Well, it's already well after time, but we were in the middle of a battle.
Yeah,
3:45.
happens.
Oh boy.
So when we resume, we'll have to deal with this new dragon turtle threat.
As we always do.
Just as you do. Fine. Sorry.
There we go.
Oh, that's a good feeling. I'm glad nobody got taken out by one of the cannons. It's always good.
Yeah.
Well,
And I
Four
like to
bucks.
imagine when Heel and your duplicate went over, they were both like slowly reaching out towards each other.
I don't want to wait. Yeah. What was your passive perception, Kyle, by the way? Your character's passive. Your passive perception? It might be listed underneath.
so what's your perception? Are you trained in it?
13.
13.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Cool. That's if you're not making an active perception check, then what I can do is I can take that number and say, okay, if somebody I'm controlling is stealthing, I can use your passive perception and say, okay, well, you didn't see it. You know what I mean? Unless you're actively searching for it, in which case your new roll would adjust that. Right?
It'd be your 10 plus your wisdom, and if you have proficiency.
If you're proficient in perception, you get that bonus too. So, yeah, most people's are around the same. We've got a 13, a 14.
16.
Yours is a 16.
I have expertise.
Yeah, the Takta's is a 10.
Yep.
Partly because of the hat obscuring some eyes.
I have disadvantage in regular light to see things.
So does that make your passive perception -5?
Technically, yes.
Oof.
Rules is written, yes. It's because it's bright. I'm constantly blinded by the sun.
Blinded by the sun. Revved up like a douche.
I mean, that is what it
Because
says.
that's literally what it says. I mean,
It's technically deuce, but
let's be
it's
clear.
douche.
No, it's deuce. It's douche. Let's be clear.
No. Black.
This one is yours.
And the gold and green.
These
is
are yours,
Kyle.
Kyle. All right.
So what did you
I'll bring dice next week.
This is covered in plexiglass, by the way, so you feel free to
print one for Talk Day.
if you want.
Do a little Hero Forge design.
It's safe to touch.
Mostly because of wizard hat.
Yeah.
That's a must.
Yeah.
I can't just use any cobalt.
No.
Good old vaporwave.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it's got a bit of like a control feel to it.
Well, I'm just colors.
Okay.
Color scheme wise.
Neon.
Purple and blues and pinks.
Okay. So, how did we feel about today's session? What went well and what didn't go well? I mean,
Good time.
stuff for Craig didn't go well, but
Yes.
that's to be
Craig.
expected.
We have to get attached to enemies so when they die we can feel sad. That's all.
Make me feel guilty for going all horror movie on his ass.
No, those are the moments you relish as a shifter or werewolf-like
I mean,
character.
yeah.
Oh yeah. They're my favorite
Turn around,
moments.
you like
when
give a
I
thumbs up. We're like, no, absolutely not.
Why have you done this?
do that.
He stabbed you!
Then you try like the middle thumb. You're like, but kind of okay.
I haven't decided yet. Up
He's
or
a
down?
pirate?
Yeah, he did shank me with a hook. Not a fan.
To meet hook.
I've already decided that it's all Kevin's fault that Craig died.
Yep.
Kevin.
God damn it, Kevin.
Make sure you're not like infected with anything. You know that meat
Ooh,
hook
yeah.
might have been like. Oh.
Well, that's assuming it was a meat
Salmonella.
hook. It could just be like a logger's hook. So
Get some mold.
No, I like this session. I had fun.
Yeah, have fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Some good interactions.
good setups, interesting combats.
Kyle, how'd it feel to actually play D&D instead of just have a
Yeah.
character ready?
That's good.
Good.
Yeah, lighter on the role play later. We got a good bit of it in the beginning, and that felt kind of good.
We also got to,
Talk investigate.
it's true.
Nice, strong emotional moment with Wolf there.
Yeah. Poor dude.
Well, I mean, your lot right now is. I mean,
It's
I'd
a
rather
little worse.
I'd rather be Captain Wolf right now, frankly.
I was
You guys
wondering if he was going to come, fucking
Come
help
on,
us.
yeah.
you know.
He needs to flank and then just broadside.
Well, his ship's not exactly as fast as the
That's true.
Boominaker.
Brazen Places.
It'll take him some time to catch up.
Okay.
Because one turn I did think about just trying to send a message.
Let's see here. So this is today's the 23rd. next time we would meet would be the same time, November 30th.
Anybody going out?
2
town
days
for
after Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 days.
I'm still good.
I'm still good.
I'll be
Still in
good.
town. Still in town. Still in town.
Just be going to
I'm not
Indiana
going anywhere.
Thursday.
Kyle, will you be joining us again?
Yeah, I can
Cool.
Cool, cool.
Very good. Okay. Then the 30th is same time. We'll do 12 to 3, or
A little extra for
depending
combat.
on
Yeah.
what's going on. Cool. All right.
Cool, cool.
Sounds good.
Yay.
Thank you.